concerned about the books that our children are seeing. The other day I saw a children's book where two male penguins were holding hands. There's a book called The Giving Tree. This tree gives the child, whatever it wants and needs. Clear reference to communism. If you look in history, democracy, the concept of it was created in ancient Greece. Okay, and now in ancient Greece, they created this concept of democracy. Did they have a pride flag? No, they didn't have a pride flag because men being with other men, I guess, was normalized, and it's just they're everywhere. Okay, where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? All right. Or you know what? Forget that point. We should also ban books about ancient Greece in this library as well. There's no more. I don't want to see another book on ancient Greece. Take down the pride flag. I want to put up the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence. Kids should know about that because it's not just a piece of paper. It's a map that leads to a treasure of Templar gold. That is why Nicolas Cage tried to steal it. Right? And as we, these liberals try to steal our Constitution, the only way to stop them is for us to steal it first. Thank you.
Coming from a galaxy near you, this is Brothers in Booze. And here are your hosts, Greg Washington and Doug Ziegler.
That was great.
Happy Brothers in Booze Day.
Yeah. Happy BIB, folks. Welcome.
Yeah, we need more like that guy.
Yeah, that took a turn that I wasn't expecting for sure. So.
Oh, yeah. It all started. He tried to tell you at the beginning, trolling the school board. So it goes really fast, but he was there trolling the school board. That school board apparently just got done banning the pride flag. So, yeah.
Don't make sure you weren't pointing at me. Like, what's on my face?
I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Hey.
What I am doing, though, is drinking this beer.
Yeah, Zinga beer.
Zinga beer from Black Viking, who y'all going to get to know hopefully here soon, even though I don't see him in the studio yet.
Yeah. But
ginger Zinga beer. A ginger golden ale. I've had this one for a while, so I'm hoping that it's cool.
Yep, that's it.
It tastes like ginger ale.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, I remember having that, and that's what I thought too. I was like,
with some ginger cookies too. Shout out to JHG for making this happen.
Yeah.
Because this is how I got it.
Yep.
Yeah, you should. You should
recognize that. Yeah.
You should. Yeah. Yeah, it tastes like ginger ale. And it's damn good, refreshing, all year round. We're gonna get to the bottom of this shortly here.
Yeah, I had that one before, and I thought so. Yeah. So what I'm drinking is something from our friend Lauren Yee, who sent me this. This is East Brothers Oatmeal Stout. Just put the googly eyes on it for the Everything Everywhere All at Once reference. So got that. Yeah, this one is 5.4. So yeah. So I cut my fingernail, so that was not great pulling that up. Where do you stand on oatmeal stouts, Greg? What are your thoughts on them? No, muted. Okay, so I'm gonna. Yeah, it smells very good, like almost like almost portery, like a little roasty in the nose.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you now. Yep.
Oatmeal stouts.
Oh, that's good. That's really, really, really good. Like it's not too oaty. Yeah. So
not too what?
Not too like sometimes like you get that really super oaty flavor out of the oatmeal where it's a little overdone. Mm-hmm. Not that this is just like super well balanced and nice, like almost like a dry stout with the oatmeal flavor. Man, that's good.
Yeah. oatmeal stouts are fun, man. I like them a lot. You don't see them that often. They kind of got barreled over by the big stouts and all the big stout craze.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of a dark one to start with, but
Yeah, but it's only 5.4, so it's low, which is I wanted to start low and build up. I have a big one at the end, so
cool. So you've had Zinga beer.
I have, and Jay She sent that to me. I also had it at Barrel and Flow.
Oh, I didn't.
I had it there. He had it there.
I didn't have it there.
You missed out, man, because that's I was like, ooh. So yeah,
yeah. Well, we're gonna get into Barrel and Flow, but you already know that you can't do everything there. Even though
that's true. You would be hammered drunk in fucking 30 minutes.
Right, but Black Viking, I should have. I don't know. I probably had it, but I probably forgot. So, yeah. All right, Doug.
Cheers, man. That was good. So, thank you, Lauren.
Yeah. What was the ABV on that again?
5.4. So, like I said, pretty low, pretty basic can though. But sometimes the simple designs are not bad either. So,
I like it. Mm-hmm. So tonight, y'all, we got a special treat for you. We have Shaun from Black Viking Brewing, and if you've never been really in the same room with this guy, the energy that he brings is just amazing. He's electric, lights up the room, contagious. He's smart, really business savvy, but at the same time, he's very, very people oriented, which is great. And I'm sure that's great for his brand. You can tell that he likes being around people. He gets people motivated, energized, and really keeping it real, dog. He's someone that I kind of look up to, or I do look up to as far as in this industry. He is, I believe, a leader in this industry. Maybe he won't agree with that, but we'll see. But he reminds me of our boy Teo from they're really well.
Crowns and Hops, yeah.
Right. Well, they're both black, but no. A little bit further than that, but like they are like to me like part of the glue that keeps it doesn't keep Barrel and Flow together, but it is like part of like he's part of the community. He reminds me of Sizzle, and you know what I mean. Like those guys, some guys are just on the outskirts. Some guys are just like in on it.
Yeah, they're interwoven.
Yeah, so he's from the DMV area, and Doug, I didn't know until today what DMV meant. Sorry, call me an idiot.
Oh, great.
Why did you ever put it together? Like DMV, and I'm like, what do y'all? This DMV to me is a new thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I've never like newish like in the last couple 5 years or so. I don't know. When I would live back east, I never called it the DMV area. So that's why I'm like, what's DMV? It's Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia, dog. It's so simple because they're all close. But what happened? What happened to DC though?
Yeah, they're not not allowed to have anything other than
they can't have nice things. No, but we can have nice things because we have Shaun Taylor here, and we're gonna bring him on DC Metro. Yeah, but that's not. It should be DC MV. Forget it.
DC DMV.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
So this is why.
Right, this is why I need to stop talking, and we need to bring on our fabulous guest, Shaun Taylor from Black Viking Brewing. Yes.
What's up, fellas?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank y'all so much for having me on the Brothers and Booze show. Two of my favorite people with great energy. I'm happy to see y'all, man. Thank you for that intro too, Greg. Like that, you almost made one Denzel from Glory tear come down my face, man. So
okay. I'll work harder next time. I'm gonna get the tear. You know these streams, Shaun. It's all about the drama. You gotta get the drama going in order to get people watching. Right. You already know. But nice to see you, Shaun. Is there anything in your glass that we need to know about?
Well, I mean, of course, I have on deck the world's most drinkable beer. We've got new packaging as well.
Ooh.
So Very, I don't know if I'm turning it the right way.
No,
So
that looks good.
That's
we just came out with that last week. We got the Black Viking on the panel. We got the Zinga beer on the other side, golden ale.
okay.
That's sharp.
And we've got King Cross with the Viking print behind
Cross.
it. Yes, yes. And we can talk more about right. So you
That's
got
the
the
old
OG
one.
one right there. That's a collector's item right there.
Yeah, and yeah, um, the results are already rolling in. People like that shit.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that, family. Yeah, we
Good,
worked
good.
really hard on it. We worked, me and my guy. Shout out to my guy, Art and Ale. His name is Phil Pilgrim, but his handle is Art and Ale on Instagram. Black
Okay.
dude, super dope artist. He does a lot of beer labels in the DMV. And just like a all around great dude, like a really good person to work with. So he redid our label for us, our packaging, because we've got to bring some continuity to our brand because we've got some other things coming in the next few months. And I'm like, okay, we have to make this. We're telling the story of the Black Vikings. And again, we can get into that a little bit later. He also did the label for this one for us. We just came out with that last week as well. It's a Stroop waffle stout called Stroop. There it is. Right?
There
So
it is.
that's right. So that's a Stroop waffle stout,
Trouble for that one.
7.6% ABV, brewed with our friends from Red Bear Brewing in DC.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we saw some promotion about that today. I think a couple of us in the like Greg and I and our friend JHG was talking about that and how he was really excited to go there and try to get some of that.
Yeah, man. It's a fun time. We had the opportunity to go on Fox 5 last week to promote the new beer and the collaboration. And the turnout for the launch party was great. The reception has been great as far as the actual liquid. Again, brew with our friends from Red Bear Brewing, which is veteran owned, which is LGBTQIA plus owned, and one of their assistant brewers is a dope Black woman named Nicole Jones, and she's the one that came up with the idea for the Stroop waffle stout. So like when we sat down, she was like, her and the team over there, shout out to my guy Simon, who's one of the owners and head brewer. They were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, what do y'all want to do? Like, I want to do whatever's easy. You know what I'm saying? No egos. Let's just talk and drink beer and just brainstorm and figure it out. And Nicole instantly was like, well, I did win a medal for my Biscoff stouts. And I really like doing pastry stouts, but not like super heavy pastry stouts where it's got that like syrupy almost type flavor. Mm-hmm. And I love Stroop waffles. So what do you think about doing a Stroop waffle stout? And I was like, I love Stroop waffles too. Stroop, there it is. And it was done in literally 5 minutes, like 3 minutes, it was done. So yeah, we're really proud of the beer. We're proud of the packaging. Again, shout out to my guy Art and Ale who did that one. And yeah, we doing some great things in 2023, and it's only February.
Yeah, Doug, let me jump on this one and I'll give you the follow-up.
No problem.
So I didn't really expect to talk about this with you, but we're here, so we're going to get it in. So Stroop, there it is, clearly is a reference to tag team.
Yes.
There was two different ones. There was tag team and there was another like 95 South or something that did stuff similar.
Oh, right.
Whoop,
right.
there it is. Okay.
There was Whoop and then there was Whoop. There it is. There was two.
Right.
Oh, okay.
It's like when they had two different versions of the Power, if you remember that too.
So Shaun corrected me. DMV is DC, Maryland, Virginia, not Delaware. Sorry, Delaware. Y'all got to go. So I just got to make sure that is corrected for the record. Shaun, what is your opinion on appropriation? Because again, this kind of thing we give the side eye to if it was white people coming with this angle, and there is there's this issue within our community where, of course, it's what 99.9% white brewers and 1% black brewers. So what is your opinion on that? I mean, again, coming from your angle, I mean, we good, but how do you feel when you see this in the industry coming from white people who this really isn't their, what's the word I want to use, Doug?
I don't know, thing. I'd say thing. We know what they mean by
well, thing. You know what I mean. Shaun, you go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean, though.
I mean, I get that question a lot, and I mean, my thing is when you get into appropriation, there's I don't want to say the flip side, but appropriation a lot of times to me is a lack of appreciation, right? And so it's hard, in my opinion, for someone to appropriate something if they show the proper amount of appreciation and reverence for what they're utilizing to capitalize off of it, right? And so if you're just trying to sell beer or just trying to sell shoes or whatever it may be, whatever product that it is, right? And you just say, well, let me take this from this culture, whether it's black culture, whether it's Asian culture, whether it's LGBTQIA plus culture, whatever culture it is, whether it's veteran culture, and you don't show appreciation for it, I think the major blowback comes because people can sense that, right? They know if you're not being genuine. And when you come off as disingenuous, then it's just a slap in the face. And that's when you get hit with the appropriation, right? And so for us too, we've been hit with the appropriation or asked about appropriation because we're Black Viking, right? And so for me, when we first started Black Viking, my co-founder and I, excuse me, it came from a very real place. Also, I had the good luck of running into a lady who turned out to be a Viking archaeologist, who I sit down with once a quarter to make sure that I'm paying proper homage to the Viking culture, right? And her name is Dr. Amanda Weimer. She's super dope lady, right? Out here in the DMV. And she explained to me that Viking, because I said the word Viking literally translates into pirate, right? Why would someone call themselves the pirates? And like, why would it be so like revered, right? All these years later, right? The Viking era was like 700 AD to about 1000, 1100. So not even that long, to be honest, but it's still in the forefront of a lot of people's consciousness now. And she said to me, Shaun, Viking is not an adjective. Viking is a verb. So you had these people in Scandinavia who were mostly, what we would call white Europeans, right? But they did not call themselves the Vikings. That was the label ascribed to them by historians much later, because what they were saying is that they would go out Viking. So you go out Viking to make your fortune. To, unfortunately, for a lot of other countries and cultures, right? You
Right.
rape and you pillage and you take
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
so that really just, like, I have a background in screenwriting, and that, like, when she said that, fellas, like something clicked in my brain to where I saw like the whole world of the Black Vikings, and I saw like the backstory and like, oh, our Vikings gonna have a name. That's how we got King Cross. Then in a couple months we've got Queen Naya coming. Like we're telling a whole story and using beer as the vehicle to do it. And just to kind of put a bow on that without being too long winded, when I said that Black Viking is a real thing, like, or it came from a real place, I didn't want to name the company Black Viking. I was like, that's corny. Like my co-founder came with me. I'm like, Black Viking, what are you talking about, bro? Black Viking, I never heard of that, right? And my co-founder, who is a biracial gentleman, 6'3" black dude, but his dad is black, his mom is white. Um, he's got some lineage tied to Scandinavia, right? And the Vikings. And he was like, I like hiking, I like the cold, I like to do outdoor stuff. I think Black Viking is I see myself as a Black Viking, right? So it came from a very real place. So he told me, like, after our first meeting, like, yo, go home and talk to your wife about it, talk to your homeboys or whatever, think this through. And I talked to my wife, I talked to my inner circle, so to speak. They were like, ST, you've never seen a Black Viking, you never heard of a Black Viking. And so I'm Googling, of course, and the only thing that's popping up is Idris Elba's character from the Thor movies, right? And I'm like, damn, he's right. I've never seen or heard of a Black Viking. So we could, like I said, I saw the whole world as far as like the backstory
Yeah.
of Black Vikings. So I was like, we actually have an opportunity to create something wholly unique. And to me, that was the like, oh my God, the aha type, like my my Ahab moment, so to speak. Like, oh, we about to go get this big ass whale because we're gonna do something that's never been done before. So That's the story
That's-
of Black Viking.
Wow. And I didn't even really ask for that, Doug, but I got it.
We got a whole history lesson. That was great.
No
But
problem.
no, and that's great. And you know how enthusiastic and energetic Shaun is, Doug, because we've seen him about his brand. So you know he believes in it.
Mhm.
Know he believes in it. So like that is really interesting, Shaun, that you came in with like this whole I tell Doug all the time, like the first time I meet someone or the first time I do something, I usually hate it. And I usually come around to it, if that makes sense. Like I'll let it marinate. I won't hate it to the point to where I dismiss it. But this literally goes with people too. Like I meet people, I look at them side eye and I'm like, who is this? Like, who is this motherfucker? Right.
Right.
And then like an hour later, I'm like, whoa. You were way quick on that judgment there. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you like walk that back a little bit. And then I find out that like the thing that I didn't like was the thing that I needed, or the thing that is something that, and then I get very enthusiastic like you. It's like a pendulum.
Right.
And that's what I kind of hear with the Black Viking story. What's going on, Doug?
Yeah, you famously told the story a few times how that when you met me, you first didn't really like me all that much.
Yeah,
Man.
wasn't feeling it.
Come on, Greg.
I grow on people though. It's fine. Like moths.
That's great.
What's going on, Doug? You got something for him though, right?
Yeah, I wanted to actually a bit ask about the stroopwafel bit. Like, so you came up with the idea for the concept of stroopwafel, and so you decided. I mean, that kind of because it's sweet and it lends itself to a kind of a stout kind of venture. How then did you decide ingredients and things like that? Is that just is that a fairly easy process to figure out, or is that something where you kind of have to really bounce stuff off depending on what you can get and stuff like that?
Right. So, I mean, and let me be very clear. I am the co-founder and CEO of Black Viking. I am not a brewer, right? So my co-founder, he no longer works with Black Viking, but he was the initial brewer. And so he saw what I was doing as far as an energy standpoint, a marketing standpoint, a networking standpoint. And that's how we decided to come together and form a company. So I don't brew and I know my lane. Like I not to toot my own horn, but one of my strengths is that I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses and I don't get in other people's way. Right. And so when Nicole said, I want to do a Stroopwafel Stout, the idea as far as the name came immediately. And I threw the name out there. Everyone loved it. We toasted to it. And then that was it. Then I said, okay, well, y'all figure that out. Right. And then I will get to work as far as the packaging, talking to Phil, how we want to sell this. Right. Like that's to me, I always say we need to, you have to take the Steve Jobs approach to beer. Right. And what I mean by that is the end-to-end consumer experience, right? So before Apple, you would have like Sony or whatever, tech company come out with headphones or cassette players. I'm dating myself right now, right? And it was in this like terrible plastic packaging. It was like really hard to open. You like have to get like scissors or a knife and cut it. You might cut yourself on the jagged plastic. Like it was terrible, right? And then Steve Jobs came and he was very inspired by Japanese architecture. And so he was like, I'm coming with the all white. When you open the box, like you're going to have a pleasurable experience from the moment you purchase it till you open it, till you start engaging with the product. I feel the same way about the beer. And so I trusted because I had Red Bear's beer. Their beer is amazing, right? They make a variety of different styles and it's always really good. And the quality is always top notch. So I wasn't worried about that, right? But my job was to then figure out, we got the name part down. How are we going to market this? How are we going to package it? And how are we going to sell it? And so that's what I focus on. A few days after we met, Nicole and Simon, they ran the recipe by me. Yeah, we're going to use Vietnamese cinnamon and we're going to use some vanilla and some caramel malt. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. What's the ABV going to be? Right? Because then that's helping me understand how I can pitch this beer, right? Like Shaun, I don't think the ABV should be too high. I think it should be a dessert stout, but nice and drinkable. So, a little bit more complex flavor profile, but not boozy to where you can't have more than one. I thought it was great. drinkable beer. What a novel concept, right? So I'm like, now this is easy. I go to brew day. I, maybe throw in a couple things here and there. But I'm staying out the way for the most part, right? I'm talking with Simon about strategy. And then we did some samples. I'm like, yeah, this is great. And it was just, that was it. And the response again to the beer has been amazing. And if you go to Red Bear and get the beer there, they serve it with a stroop waffle on top of the glass. I thought it was just for decoration. I'm like, optically, that's great, right?
Right.
But then they were like, no, Shaun, actually dip it in the beer and take a bite. And I was like, man, yeah, I'm not falling for that. Like, no, whatever. Like, you guys are gassing it. They were like, no, seriously, SC, like, do it. And I tried it and I was like, oh my God. Like the way that the flavors play with each other, I was like, yo, Nicole is a genius because this is an amazing experience. So you had a bunch of people when we launched the beer last Thursday dipping stroop waffles into a beer, eating it just like straight euphoric feelings, raising their glass up, chugging. Like it was great. It was a great event.
That's awesome. Like you hear about it, you wouldn't think to be like, because the last thing you think of is, oh, let's like dip some breaded thing into your beer. Even like, great, you're gonna have chunks in it, but no.
Let's go.
Man, now I wish I was closer to the DMV so I could get that shit.
And I'm definitely jealous, JC. You're gonna have to.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give us a report on that, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have to send him some stuff so he's thinks about being nice and sending us some back, though.
Yeah,
I don't know if he can get us a street waffle, but I got them here, so maybe I can work it. But it must have a nice caramel base, I would say, or caramelly aspect to it, Doug, if it's going to go with the street waffle, because I believe that's caramel in the middle of that street waffle, right? So
it
then,
is.
yeah.
And if I can just jump in, the genius of Nicole is she didn't put too much caramel in there. The way that she put the vanilla and the cinnamon, so it's like it's a roasty stout, of course, but it's not overly roasty where it's like bitter. It's extremely balanced, and then the cinnamon on the back end plays with the caramel. Like it's a very, very unique experience.
Doug, we need to stop talking about this one.
I know. Well, I do want to say one more thing. The idea though of having a dessert stout that isn't like overly, because a lot of those pastry stouts are super cloying, overly
sugary,
and you're like, one is all you can have just because of how overpowering, and making that like drinkable so you can have more. That's fucking awesome. So what are those?
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. I'll try to send you guys a couple cans. They're very rare, but I got a couple at the house, and Nicole, like I said, all respect to her. And the whole team at Red Bear, right? I'm not trying to put one person above the other, but like she's a very, very, very good brewer. Like except like chef's kiss, she's that good.
Mm-hmm. Well, and man, shit sounds great. man. So, how long y'all been around, Shaun?
So we started the company in August of 2020. We launched Zinga Beer in October of 2021. And so, yeah, just a little over a year.
So you started a beer company in the middle of a fucking pandemic.
Yeah, man. I know it sounds crazy, but like, during that time, everyone had time to think and to prioritize. And for me, I knew I wanted to get into the beer game, like from a ownership standpoint, for about 10 years, right? And so maybe 6-7 years ago, I finally bought some equipment, did a couple batches of homebrew. They turned out okay, but like I knew that like I don't like chemistry. I was terrible at chemistry. I don't like cooking. So for me, I'm like, and I think this applies to anybody. If your heart's not in something, you're not going to stick with it. There's no way, because you got to have that passion that's going to get you through the tough days, right? So much to my wife's delight, I put my homebrew stuff on the shelf, and then I started doing what I do best, and that's building community. And so I would go to different beer events, to tastings, just networking at bottle shops, restaurants, and just talking to people. And so I was like, I love this community. Like I really do. Like I grew up playing basketball, I played in high school, I played in college. And I love playing basketball, but I love the camaraderie piece even more.
Mm.
And so in the beer industry, as you both know, it's a very, even though it's not a very diverse industry as far as ownership, it's typically a pretty welcoming industry where people work together a lot to help each other out, right? And it's a very creative industry, and it's filled with a lot of smart, dope, eclectic people. And I was like, yo, I found my home. Like this is like boom, I'm in, right? I feel great about this. And so I started up a show on Facebook Live called the BYOB Show, and I would just like review different beers and invite my buddies over, whether they're like, you know, lawyers or teachers or former professional like whoever, and we would just talk and drink beer.
And this is before Black Viking, right?
Exactly. So this
Okay,
was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And so because I always say no one goes to the bar or the restaurant to talk about what type of malt is being used. Like there's a time and place for that, but you go to the bar to talk about your life. Like, did you get a promotion? Did you buy a house? Did you have a kid? Like, did you get a divorce? Did you get married? Right? And like the beer facilitates those conversations. And so on the BYOB show, we would get anywhere from 300 to 1,500 views with no promotion, no like just talking, setting up my phone on the tripod and just talking, right? And so what also started happening was I started getting a lot of texts from people that I knew and DMs from people that I didn't know. They would be like in the corner of a bottle shop, like taking a picture of some beer, like, hey, Shaun, is this good? Right. So it's like, well, it depends on what you like, right? And so then it's like I'm kind of like becoming a de facto thought leader, so to speak. Like, because unfortunately, there's not, well, at least at that time, there weren't a lot of black people that
still
were
not.
and there's still not, proportionally speaking, there's not, right? Talking about beer. And so I was like, oh man, I think I'm on to something, right? And so one of my buddies was like, you need to get on Instagram. I wasn't even on Instagram at the time. He was like, you need to get on Instagram because of the hashtags. And I don't think Facebook had hashtags at that time. You can like find more of a community, right? And so I jumped on Instagram. I would talk about beer, but just share my life, like, you know, my wife, my kids, music, basketball, workouts, whatever it may be. And from that, I used to coach basketball back in 2007 to like 2010. One of my former players, Jamil, hit me up. He was like, hey, coach, I see everything that you're doing, man. I brew beer. And I was like, coach, man, you got to be like 30 years old now, man. I was like 2008. Like, I'm Shaun now. I'm not coaching anymore, right? He was like, no, you're forever coach. And I brew beer. So I'm giving him shit. I'm like, man, you don't brew beer. Like, what are you talking about? You messing with me. He was like, no, seriously, I do. I'll bring some bottles to your house tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, he's pretty confident. So I guess he does brew beer. So he brings over a bunch of different beers. We chop it up. We didn't even crack any beers at the time. We just were catching up because I hadn't seen him since high school, since he was in high school. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'll check these out. And then, you know, maybe we'll talk about like, you know, what I think or whatever. So I'm trying different beers. He had like a black IPA. He had a couple porters in there. And then I cracked this ginger and this beer with honey and ginger. And when I saw it on the label, I was like, damn, that's so obvious. How come no one's done that before, right? Like, I love honey and ginger. I'm sure someone's done it, but why haven't I seen this on like a
massive scale?
Right. So I'm like, so I cracked it open and the aroma immediately, I was like, oh man. So I poured it in the glass. I took a sip and I was like, oh, this is a hit. This is a hit, right? Like, this is a hit. Right. I've never had a beer like this. It's so balanced and crisp and light, but flavorful all at the same time. And so I'm like, Jamil,
what you said.
I'm like, bro, can you give me a couple more bottles of that honey ginger beer? He's like, yeah. Next day he brings me over like a half a case, right? So
wow.
Yeah. So I mean, he just had them at the house. So I started taking them out to people, taking them out to my buddies that really are into beer, taking them to people that own bottle shops. And then I was like, some of my buddies and my wife included, I'm like, you know, let your wife who don't like beer, let her taste the beer and see what she says, right? And so my wife tasted the beer. She was like, and my wife hates beer. She was like, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. I was like, okay,
Right.
That's high praise. That's high praise.
right. I'm like, we're on to something. And then one of my other buddies, seriously, like 30 minutes later, texted me, hey, ST, my wife just walked by and she drank some of my beer. And then she kept walking. And then she turned around and came back and she drank some more. And she's not a beer drinker. I said, oh, that's it. That's it. It's we can appeal to almost anybody with this beer.
Right. And this is the beer in my glass?
That's the beer in your glass.
Look at that, dog.
Yeah, man.
Go Oregon. Oregon story.
Yeah, man.
Man.
Nice.
We knew Shaun had some stories up his sleeve. We haven't even
Dude, we haven't even scratched the surface of Shaun's story.
Right.
Shaun's got a lot, man. That's why we love him. That's why we wanted him on.
Well, right. JC, a beer is a little different than
Hey, Jonathan, crazy.
Just a little different, pun intended, right? I mean, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yo,
I don't know how we get off on that one.
Well, let's just be thankful Zach isn't on here because it would have been off the rails.
Right. Oh man, well that's I didn't know any of those stories, even though I do. Doug, we'll get to your second. I think you have a second soon, right?
I do. Whenever we get a break, no worries.
Yeah, after this question, and I just forgot. So that leads to, it's a perfect segue to what I want to talk about now, which is, where's my little thing here? So, what was your first IG show called?
Oh, the BYOB show.
BYOB show.
Yeah.
So the BYOB show turned into Black Viking TV. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So you want to talk about that transition or what's going on, and then tell us about Black Viking TV right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have the honey ginger beer. I'm like, bro, this is a hit. Let's sit down and talk, right? So Jamil and I sit down and talk. And he's like, I like brewing beer. I don't want to do the social piece. You like doing the social piece, the marketing. I think that we should form a company. I was like, I think you're right. And I had some names, some ideas for names. And I'm like, but let me see what he thinks. So that's when I asked him, what do you think we should call this, Jamil? And he was like, Black Viking. And I was like, what? And so then he showed me a picture of the Minnesota Vikings logo. But instead of the guy being white, he had an afro. And I was like, no, Jamil. Right. I was like, no, bro, we're not doing that, man. Like,
I want to see that shit. I want to see that
shit. So, like, and what's crazy about that, one of my closest friends is a senior executive with the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm like, we're definitely like, no, like Jamal, my other friend Jamal, he would kill me if we did that. We're not doing that.
Like, what are you doing?
Right, like exactly. He's gonna hit me up like, ST, come on, bro, don't do me like that, right? And so then, we went through the whole story about how we settled on the name Black Viking. And so, filed a paperwork, LLC. One of my buddies is a dope trademark attorney, so he trademarked Black Viking Brewing, Zinga beer for us. And so, well, at least started that process because that's kind of a lengthy process. But it was like, let's get the paperwork started on this and do this the right way. And so I was like, all right, now we need to figure out how to brew some beer. So as we're figuring out like who's gonna brew the beer for us and like just figuring out this whole game, I told you, man, I'm like, we need to build community. Like that to me is the best way to not just sell stuff, because I don't want to just sell beer. I want to like start a movement. I want to do something that's transformative. So we need to build a community. So I'm going to shut down the BYOB show, and then I'm going to like give it a couple months, let it just chill, whatever. And then I'm going to rebrand as Black Viking TV. And we can do this before we even have any beer that's ready, just to build an organic community, right? Because one of my things, and one of the reasons why I think the BYOB show worked is because I wasn't necessarily like rating beer. Like I was just telling you my opinion about it, but I was never snobby about it because I don't feel like there's a such thing as bad beer. And when I say that, most people are like, what do you mean? Like, there's piss water out there and whatever. But some people hear what I'm actually saying, right? So like, yeah, you have these domestics, these light lagers that are, cheaply made beers or whatever, but people are buying them. And if people are buying them, they're drinking them, and some of those beers are attached to very special times in people's lives. And so just to as an aside, my wife's grandfather and my grandfather are both in the Navy at the same time. Like they're around the same age. Craziness, right? My wife's grandfather, he liked PBR. So my wife is from Peoria, Illinois. They had a huge PBR plant out there. After he got out of the service, he worked at Caterpillar. And then when he get off his job at Caterpillar, he would go get some beer at PBR. That's what you did. It was a communal thing, right? Mm-hmm. Now, my grandfather, he didn't like beer. He didn't like beer until the last year or so of his life, where I had a Belgian beer and it came in a big bottle with the cork and cage on it. He thought it was champagne. So he said, let me try it. I didn't even tell him, right? I poured it for him. He was like, oh, this is good. So I told him it was beer. And he was like, oh, well, maybe I do like beer. So you have one grandfather drinking PBR, one grandfather drinking delirium tremens.
High-end right? Shit. Yeah, high-end shit.
You see what I'm saying? And like now, both of our grandfathers have since passed. But like anytime I would go to Papa Tony's house, this is my wife's grandfather, he would be watching the Cubs and drinking his PBR. Now, I would look like a pure asshole if I was like, you need to drink this delirium tremens, or you need to do this, then, right? Like, that's bad beer, Pop. No, I'd be like, Papa Tony, can I get one? Shaun, mijo, go ahead. I go in the refrigerator, get my PBR, sit down next to him and watch the Cubs, right? Like, though, that's a like very memorable thing for me. So I'm like, I would never disrespect somebody else's beer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you like what you like. And I think that kind of like inclusive approach is what led to the BYOB show working. And we took that same, or I took that same approach to Black Viking TV, where you'll see Black Viking TV episodes, even now that we have beer on shelves, where like our beer is selling very well, I still drink other people's beer on the show. Mm-hmm. And some folks told me, that's crazy. How are you going to have a show and drink other people's beer? I'm like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? I enjoy other people's beer, right? Like that just makes sense to me. And if they find my beer and they like that, because maybe we call Zinger beer the world's most drinkable beer, but maybe they don't like it. So cool. Let's find what you do like. Mm-hmm. And so that's how BYOB show ended up morphing into Black Viking TV. And it's turned out to be a good strategy, a good tool for us for sure. Thank you for showing that too, man. That's dope.
Yeah.
Yep. So y'all, this is ST, as he likes to be called. I hear Black Viking, but this is also Black Viking's official Instagram page, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And y'all see it there, so y'all can. It's pretty straightforward. So go give ST and Black Viking follow, and you will not be disappointed. His interviews, I mean, we can learn a whole lot from him, Doug. I'm just telling you. I don't know if you've seen it, Doug, but it's just great. You got good people in there, fun people. I learned a lot. I haven't been recently, but for some reason I stopped getting my notifications for Instagram. I don't know what the hell's going on, Doug. I used to get them like Black Vikings live or Kinky Suds is live, and I would like run in that shit. And now I don't get them anymore, so I got to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Get your shit together, Greg. Come on.
Yeah. Well, at least he's not STD. Well, Manny.
Hey, you got a great community here, man. I love it.
Manny coming in hot.
Shout out to Manny.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yes, Shaun, we do have a good community, but you know how that goes because, that's where I think the reward comes, Shaun, real quick. Doug, we'll get to your beer next, but that's where the reward comes in for me and Doug is the interaction. We don't have many followers, but the ones that watch us they love us and we love them. And it's just a really good community. They are half the stream. If we didn't have our comments and our crazy comments, our stream would be nothing. And I know how you feel because that's kind of how it rolls. And then I see you, man, you feed off your audience. I think even more than we do. Doug, again, we got a lot to learn in this area, Doug. But
Yeah.
we're learning. Look, in 6 more years, we might catch up to ST.
maybe.
Right. But hey, we're gonna work until we do. Damn it. but ST, I don't know if you want to talk about the engagement and how that fuel. See, to me, you seem like a social butterfly type person who gets fueled by that energy of other people.
Yeah, no, I mean, you hit it right on the head. And, I love what y'all are doing, man. I really do. Like, just meeting you guys in person. Like, you guys give off good vibes, man. And you're doing things for the right reason. And it's kind of like I said in the beginning, it's very authentic and people can sense that. So that's why people tune in. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I definitely, to your point, Gray, like, I remember, I can't remember which book it was by former President Obama, but he was saying basically like when he would get out amongst the people, it'd be like a cool dip in the pool. And I kind of feel the same way. Like, I just love people, right? And like, I was raised up in a big Baptist church. I like to talk. And so my mom and my grandparents who raised me, like, I got a couple little pats, every now and then talking in church, little crack on the knuckles. And eventually they were like, I mean, you're not going to stop, huh? So if you're going to talk for the Lord, boy. So they would have me at 5, 6 years old, giving the welcome address, giving speeches in front of a congregation of 500, 600 people. And so I'm very comfortable speaking in front of people. But not only that, when the service was over, my grandmother would make me speak to like everybody in the church, right? Like, so it made me, because really I can be, and I know it's going to sound crazy, I can be a little bit introverted at times, where it's like when I need my alone time, I need just things to be quiet. And my grandmother just kind of forced me to be like, no, like if people want to talk to you, they want to say good job on your speech or whatever, you're going to go talk to each and every person. And so I think that's where that comes from. And both of my grandparents and my mother were all three very social people. And so I love it. I love the engagement. I love each and every person that tunes in. I love when I'm out at the grocery store and the gym and, someone hits the Viking call, ooh, like that, right? And I'm turning around like, what the hell was that? Right. But I just, like, and last thing I'll say is on my hat, we have King Cross, we have the 12 stars, right? And so, fellas, y'all gone?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, I couldn't see.
Greg took me off the screen for some reason. I don't know what was going on there.
Oh man. And so if you see on the Black Viking right here, where it's got the 12 stars, also the 12 stars stand for the 12 tenets of the Black Viking. And so that's community, courage, discipline, honor, love, loyalty, Mother Earth, passion, perseverance, strength, vision, and wisdom. Now, that's not an exhaustive list, but I think it's pretty cumulative, right? Like, that's the type of people we want in our community, people that embody those qualities. But the first quality is community, right? That's what I love about this, man. Like, the beer is a vehicle to build community. And I feel like that's why it was so important to launch a beer that could be like enjoyed by a large range of people. Like, folks forget 80% of beer sold in the United States is light lagers. So if we would have came out the gate with a 12% pastry stout or a triple IPA, well, that's only gonna like be appealing to a certain demographic or a small niche of people. We wanted a beer that could appeal to everybody, right? And don't get me wrong, I love a good 12% pastry stout or an Imperial IPA, right? But I understand that to bring more people together, we had to have a beer that could reach more people. And so, yes, great to circle all the way back or bring all the way home. I love the engagement piece. That's my favorite part of this industry. And I love it.
You can tell. And I have to agree with my friend Aaron here. I think we all agree with our friend Aaron.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Come on, Aaron.
Right.
He's not wrong.
Right. I mean, we all agree. SC's going to disagree, but he's wrong, so it's fine. Doug, what's in your glass, buddy?
So I poured something. This is a brewery that I've seen, but I've never had any of their stuff. They're from upstate New York, Canandaigua, Young Lion Brewing Company. This is an Imperial Salted Caramel Porter, which that is all up my alley. So
Yeah, me too. Actually, let's hear about it.
Ooh.
Look at that.
I,
Now
I'm
it
afraid
did have
it's
a
too sweet.
it did have a giant head on it when I first poured it, so I let it settle a little.
So ST, when I hear salted caramel, I immediately brace for sweetness. I'm
Yeah.
hoping for subtlety. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
understand if it goes over with the sweetness. But I love me some salted caramel.
Me too.
All
I'm
right,
with you on
so
that. How is it?
it's very sweet on the nose, but
Okay.
it and a little sweet in the palate, but the porter roastiness kind of overtakes it, so it's very nice.
Yeah.
Hey Joe, you
Oh.
want to try some? My wife came over, and was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Okay." So
Right.
Hey.
Getting it.
She said no.
Mm-hmm.
She heard me talking about a salted caramel porter. I was like, "Oh, you rang?" So,
Right
Yeah,
on
let's.
my alley.
What? I didn't hear it. What'd she say?
She gave me the. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's high praise. So we're good.
Cool. Well, Doug, I have an imperial oatmeal brown ale with maple and vanilla.
Ooh.
All right, now where's Zach now to give you shit for drinking something with
Well-
50 ingredients in it?
Ooh.
Well, you know, Doug, you know who sent this to me too, right?
Oh, was it Nigel?
Nigel, our boy Nigel. ST, you know Nigel, Beers with Nigel? Are you
I
familiar
don't think
with
so.
Nigel?
I don't think so.
Oh man.
He was at Barrel.
Yeah,
and Flow.
y'all were running around at Barrel and Flow. So we're gonna have to make that connection.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for
This
sure.
year,
Nigel-
this year for
Nigel-
sure.
Nigel's
But not,
fucking dope.
yeah, Nigel's dope. He's from he's originally I believe from England, and he moved here long ago, had a son. Yeah, so he lives in Kansas City now. He sent me a little bit, but he sent me all these beers that have like, I mean, if the lowest
I
one
know
does
Nigel. Yeah. Okay.
Nigel Woodbury, is it?
Yeah, I'm already
Yeah.
following him. I know Nigel. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you cross paths with him at Baron Flow for
Yeah.
sure. But he's dope. He's doing great things out there in Kansas City, another sparsely black area, but he is blackening it up, if that makes sense.
I like how you put that, blackening it up. That's hilarious.
Oh,
Trying to see
well,
the ABV in this.
actually, we'll get back to the Black Viking in a second here. If y'all don't mind, I kind of want to do this. So we are celebrating Black History Month, Shaun. I know you are too. Everybody celebrates it in their own way. The way we're doing it here is that we are talking about a Black person that makes history, that made history, that is influential, that needs to be remembered, all that wonderful stuff. I have been on the Black woman tip, and I've been on the presently still around Black woman tip. Y'all need to respect these Black women while we still have them around, as opposed to when they pass and everybody's like, "Oh my God, I don't believe she passed. I don't believe that. You know what I mean? I didn't hear her records, or I didn't go to the Rihanna show." Or you know how we always have these regrets when people pass that we didn't, you know what I mean? Like, like somebody prominently passed, and then all of a sudden we go see all their movies, or
Right.
we all, or that, that restaurant goes out of business and we're like, damn, I should have went.
Right.
Well, that's why they went out of business, because your
Right.
ass didn't go. Right.
Right.
So,
That's real.
so this lady that I'm going to bring up today, everybody knows, and if you, she's somewhat controversial, but I think only because she's a Black woman. But she is a pioneer. She's amazing. I don't care what y'all say about her, because everybody's got an opinion about her, and it's the one and only Oprah. It's Oprah, y'all. Oprah is just such a pioneer, and I think we forget about it because now Oprah's just a rich Black lady.
Right.
And we apply that to her now, and even Black people are very critical of Oprah, whether because of Dr. Oz or whatever you want to get critical of Oprah, but that's her influence, y'all. Like say what you want about Dr. Oz. Yeah, he's kooky. Yeah, I got it. But at the same time, before he was kooky, he was actually someone who was somewhat smart in his area. It's not only him, it's Rachel Ray, it's who's her friend Gail King. She's had such a profound impact on the media, on how people get interviewed, on Black women in news, Black women in we wouldn't have Jennifer Hudson. I don't know if you ever saw Jennifer Hudson. That shit's pretty good, actually. She's talented as hell. She's got her own little talk show, but she wouldn't be around if it wasn't for Oprah. Sorry, y'all. So Oprah is this, I mean, from the, she's just legendary, from the car giving, from the interviews, just everything about her is just whoop ass. She's one of the most influential people in the world, still at her age of 69. She's getting up there in age. Remember when Oprah lost all that weight and then pulled it out in a cart? And it just like people lost their damn minds. I mean, she's just done so much that like I think we just take her for granted now. And until she moves on, we're not gonna like have this big reverence of her. But she is here. She's amazing. And I don't even know if we need to talk about her anymore because she's just so big and all that. But I do want to acknowledge her in this space because she's just someone that gets wiped over. Like, she's like, with all due respect, Doug, she's like LeBron in the NBA, where like he never gets considered for MVP, even though he's one of the best players every freaking year. But we're like, MVP, nah, I can't be LeBron. Like, why can't it be LeBron? Like, he's what the fuck? So that's where I feel we're at with Oprah. Whereas that we just don't. She's just done so much, and she's just so big, and she's done so much, whether it be her schools, all that shit, that we just don't acknowledge it, and we're just like, damn, she's great. Okay, next. And last week, Simone Biles is kind of the same thing. That's what I had last week, ST. It's kind of like, they're so great that like we just don't sit and just appreciate without any scrutiny. Just appreciate. Just,
right.
With all due respect, shut the fuck up. Just have a moment of appreciation, okay? Before you go down Dr. Oz or, she endorsed Obama, I don't like Obama, or whatever the fuck you have a problem with Oprah, because everybody has one. Settle down, relax, enjoy the woman's accomplishments, enjoy how she's changed all of our motherfucking lives. And I'm done with Oprah, but I wanted to defend her. I don't know why, but Doug, I really thought about this all week because I'm like, Oprah, like, don't other people deserve spotlight? Sure, but at the same time, she deserves her flowers too. And we're too fast to just go to the negative with Oprah as opposed to acknowledging what this wonderful woman has done for the world. Yes.
Man, that was beautiful. Yeah. You need to send that to Oprah.
Yeah, maybe she'll give you a car too.
Right. Well,
get a car. You get a car.
Just a little money to keep the stream going for a couple years.
Yeah.
Nice.
But anyway, we will let the white man go before we let Shaun go.
Yeah. So I shared the screen, Greg. So this guy.
I think you can put it up there, Doc. I think you have the ability.
Add to stream. Yeah.
Look at that.
Look at that. So this guy, somebody did a TikTok about him, and holy shit, this guy is fucking amazing. Eugene Bullard. I'd never heard of him. He, at 11, his dad was telling about how in France, a black man could be free. And they were not free. They were still living on a plantation. And he said, well, why don't we go there? And his dad was like, no, this is our home. We're staying here. So at 11, he ran away, trying to get to France. Then he got rounded back up, pulled in, but then he ran away again, and he got pulled in by this Irish group called the Stanleys. And the Stanleys were from there, but they were also indentured servants, which is, you could not slaves, but indentured servants. They're trying to ride that weird fine line, which is all the same thing. So he ends up finding his way over to, but with the Stanleys, he learns to bare knuckles box at 15 with all these guys. They love him, and he's fucking nuts. So they take him, and he just like blends in. He takes over to UK. He makes his way down. His goal was to get to France, but he gets to London, and he makes a living there, bare knuckles boxing. He learns how to play instruments so that he can perform in a jazz band. So he does that, and then he finally makes his way to Paris. And in Paris, he finally gets into, and he falls in with this jazz troupe, and they're playing for like famous fucking people. It was the spot. So like, then the Nazis invade and take over Paris, and he was like, and they all decided they're all going to this club because that's where everybody went because it was the best jazz club, and he was playing there. He said, I don't want to do that. So the French said, do you speak German? He goes, maybe. And then they said, would you like to spy on them for us? So he becomes a spy for France against Germany. Then he enlists in their armed forces, the French Foreign Legion, and he wanted to be able to fly planes, and he knew that he could not in the United States because there's a problem with his pigmentation, and they wouldn't let him fly planes. So he becomes their greatest pilot in World War One, and they call him the Black Sparrow of Death.
Oh,
like, I mean, and then after the war, he ends up coming back to the United States, and he ends up playing in jazz clubs in New York City because that's how he can make money. And like, he's playing with fucking the greatest jazz musicians in like the early jazz. Just like, it's a fascinating human being, and like, I've never heard of him. Yeah, that guy was like, fuck this racism shit. I'm going to go somewhere where I can go do shit. And he went and did it. Yes. Like, not that everybody has that option. I'm not saying that, but just the fucking will of that guy is like, fucking A. Wow.
Bro, I'd never heard of him before until right now. So thank you for educating me, because good God.
And then Aaron Yallenberg just said this.
Hey, look, Aaron, that's where my mind went when he was saying that. Man.
Like holy shit, man. No, Jordan Peterson, all right, that was a real person. That's the fucking shit. Like that flew across my, and I'd watch TikTok late at night when it's like I'm getting ready to fall asleep. I'm not like really paying attention. And that strolled in, and that was like a 3-minute video, and I was like, holy shit, I need to learn more about that guy. Holy fuck. Like what's that?
Doug, were you able to find any media on him? Like, where's the story? Where's the documentary?
No,
where's
find any? And that's
come on, Hollywood, let's go.
That's a story that needs to be fucking
told. That's a story
you want to make a great Hollywood movie. That would be a great fucking Hollywood movie.
Well, that would also be a great documentary.
Yeah.
My boys have started watching. Me and my boys have started watching a lot of documentaries, Doug, as I try to supplement. ST, I'm a homeschooler, so I to supplement the history part of homeschool. I'm doing graphic novels and documentaries. The boys did not take this to straight learning; they just did not take to it. So they are way more energetic about after they see or I see a documentary. We sit down and talk, and they're like, especially my oldest one is like, "Whoa, that was great!" But when I had him read a book about it, he wasn't as energetic, and he didn't grasp as many things as he could. And I could tell he was frustrated. So we transitioned to graphic novels and documentaries. So I would love a documentary on that guy, Doug. So I'm going to be looking for that. But I did find a nice article about him on PBS that I'm going to tweet out. But yeah, thanks, Doug, for that one. Because that was amazing. That was a good one.
Especially, that was just a random chance that it flew into my feed, and I was like, wow, okay, I need to talk about that guy because holy shit.
And we, ST, Doug and I have gotten into it a bunch of times about the dumb shit that people do on Black History Month. So one of the, it seems like, oh, let's do all the dumbest white shit ever on Black History Month. Yay! So that's a good, in my opinion, what Doug experiences a good part of Black History Month. When you go out and you see tweets and Instagrams and Facebooks of people, posting great Black people that we didn't get any history on because y'all want to erase Black history. So that's another reason why we're doing this here, ST, this month, because y'all want to erase Black history, and we ain't going to let that shit happen. So, ST, I warned you. I don't know if you have somebody to talk about Black history or Black present, but this floor is yours. If not, it's cool. No peer pressure.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And when I got your message, it actually was like the highlight of my day. And I'll explain that in just a minute. But thank you again to Doug for that very informative session, because I learned a lot and I got inspired by that. when you talk about graphic novels, Greg, like that's where Black Viking is going as well. Like we will get a King Cross graphic novel. We will get a Queen Naya graphic novel. Like all of that. I mentioned earlier that I have a background in screenwriting, so all of that is coming. And just hearing about Mr. Bullard, I'm like, man, that's all inspiration, because it's like this dude, like, what am I doing with my life, man? This dude was very much playing jazz, flying planes,
Correct.
flying, like, good
Correct.
God, man.
Correct. Right.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? But
Right.
look,
Right.
Greg, seriously, when I got your message about the Black History segment of this, and I love that you all are doing this, because Black History Month, like Carter G. Woodson started Black Negro History Week because a white man told him that the Negro had no history. So it's very important to do things like this, right? And for me, it's like, we could talk about prominent people, and I love that, whether it's the Williams sisters or the Obamas or LeBron James, who just made history and is arguably the greatest American sports story that we've ever seen, at least in my lifetime, right? But I wanted to just shout out my mother, right? And my mother, Rania Taylor, like, for people that don't know, I was actually adopted. I was adopted by Rania Taylor, and shortly after I was adopted, when I was 3 years old, she was nearly killed by a drunk driver. And so she was supposed to die. She flatlined a bunch of times on the operating table, made it through. Doctors told her that she would never walk again. And my mother was the strongest person that I've ever met in my life. And so she defied the odds, and she had to walk with a walker, and she couldn't do the things that she once did, but she did walk again. And she lived a relatively normal life, right? But so despite her limitations and being handicapped, she taught me how to shoot pool. She taught me how to bowl, and she was the one that really, like, I was a fast kid and I liked to just run around and be mischievous. So she at first put me in football, but I saw this guy named Michael Jordan. I fell in love with basketball, and my mom was like, "I'm not really into basketball, but like, all right, I'll support this." And she drove me to all the practices. She would take me to the park, and she couldn't get out and, like, play with me, but she would always say, like, "Hey, you got to hold your follow through, like McDonald's, you got to have the arc on it," right? And like, if not for my mother, like, I don't know where I would have gone, because I was a little, not that I was bad, but again, just mischievous, and I was kind of smart, so I was just getting into stuff. And my mom was at every parent teacher conference. She was at every practice, every game. Like, she was just the best mom ever. And so, if not for her, I wouldn't have become the man that I am. And she liked beer, right? And so it's funny because I can remember taking a sip of like her Schlitz malt liquor bowl or something like that, right? And be like, how the hell are you drink? Like, what is this? Disgusting, right? Now I am making a living off of beer. And so I get a scholarship to play in college. Taught to, like, midway through my freshman year, had got through my growing pains. I'm starting to play pretty well. And I talked to my mom on a Sunday night late. And a few hours later, my coach is in my room saying, "Your mom just died from a massive heart attack." Right. So obviously that was very traumatic for me. I came home, I'm like, man, forget this. I'm not going back, because I was in school in North Carolina. I'm not going back. And my boys were like, man, what? That's what your mom wanted. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so obviously, like, I went back, I graduated 4 years, all conference, dean's list, all of that. And it's all because of my mother, like, just her straight grit and tenacity, her love of people, right? Her love of beer. All of that was she poured all of that into me. And, there's the saying, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And I think there's a time and a place for that. And that's true to certain, like, in certain respects, right? But we really stand on the shoulders of, like, the loved ones who directly take care of us, that don't get all the praise. You know what I'm saying? Like, I stand on the prayers of my grandmother and the 45-minute one-way drives to practice of my mother. You know what I'm saying? I stand on my grandfather working 2 full-time jobs to make sure that we were good. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, to your point, Greg, about shouting out Black women, I miss my mother every day. She passed away on January 10th, 2000. I miss her every day, but I'm just so thankful for her, because she was just, just my best friend, my rock, all of those things. And I look now at my wife and my 3 beautiful children, and I'm like, man, like I wouldn't have any of this without my mom. So just want to shout out Rania Lee Taylor. I love you, Mom, and I hope we're making you proud out here.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
to Ronnie.
Cheers to that. Oh, that's great. And let me add a couple things on top of that, if you don't mind. Number one, you're our second guest in this Black History Month to reference one of their parents, and I find that very, very special. But also, too, I need to point out, without your mother, you would not be sitting across from us. So, because you are here because of you are Black Viking, and you have strived and you've been motivated to do the thing that you did, and that came directly from your mother. So your mother is fucking Black history, bigger than come on now, as strong as, with all due respect, as strong as Oprah or anybody else. I mean,
Right.
Those people pick bigger, platforms, so they have bigger reach. Your mother didn't have that reach, but your mother has a big reach because of you, motherfucker. So that's another one thing. And then lastly, and I know you didn't omit this, and I know you're going to agree with it, and in your story was awesome and inspiring, but let's keep it clean here. You said, and I quote, "I wasn't a crazy kid and I wasn't a bad kid, but I had a lot of energy." That could get you killed as a Black kid.
True.
So the fact
Very
that
true.
your mother had enough sense to not sense, she was that, things could have went off the rail for you if she didn't adopt you. And the fact that she was able to nurture you and to keep you safe, again, as a Black man, as a Black kid running around, we don't give our parents that enough credit for that. The ones that were still around, that they were able to nurture us and to protect us enough that, because again, Shaun, you couldn't have, we've seen how many kids get killed basically without even being any dumb shit. Trayvon, going home with a hoodie. Like, that was you. You were running home with a hoodie coming from the fucking grocery store one night when your mother sent you. I know you did. That's what we all did.
Of course.
So there's that angle of it too. I wanna make sure it's not just really about ever being in trouble with Black kids. It's just about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And sometimes, sometimes respectfully, it comes down to, bad parenting or, whatever. But a lot of times it comes down to just being Black. I'll let you respond to that, and then we'll move on to something else.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head on all points, Greg. I mean, I was an all-county basketball player, honor roll student, all of that. And I can remember very vividly on a cold February night in 1999 when I graduated from high school, us winning, like, it was like one of our last games of the season, and we clinched our division, right? And I played great. The whole team played great. We were so excited. And we were driving home, and we got into our neighborhood and got pulled over by the cops for no reason, right? Now we're all in like our windbreaker stuff,
Well, the reason was that you were driving while Black, but go on.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I'm saying, like, we literally weren't doing anything. Right. So, like, literally, we're not yelling. We're not, even though we were hyped, but we weren't like acting crazy. We're just driving. Get into our neighborhood, and me and 2 of my buddies that were in the car, because there were 4 of us, so 3 of us lived like on the same street, like literally, a block up from each other. And we get like right near our houses, get pulled over, and the cops, they're want to search the car. They asked us to get out, and because we've got on these like sweatsuits, the squishy ones, so to speak, right, like the windbreaker material, the one cop pats me down, and he keeps patting until my pants come down around my ankles. Now because I was a year early. I skipped kindergarten, right? I guess they thought I colored in the lines too well or something. So I'm 16 years old, right? All county basketball player, grew up in this neighborhood my whole life, honor roll student, and here I am, and it's like 10 degrees outside with my pants around my ankles. And I remember him like this, like it was yesterday, fellas. The dude says, "All right, he's clean." I said, "Well, you gonna pull my pants up now?" And he was like, "What'd you say?" I said, "Are you gonna pull my pants up now? Because you're the one that pulled him down." And my boys were so shook. They were like, "ST, chill out, just
shut
don't say
up."
nothing, right?" And I was like, "Bro, I can't believe I can't believe this is happening to me right now." You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't do any, like I just had like one of the best nights of my life. So, eventually I just pulled my pants up. We sat on the curb. They searched the car. Of course, they didn't find anything. But to your point, Greg, like, yeah, shit can get real quick, even when you're not doing anything at all, even when you're in your own neighborhood. So yeah, I thank my mother for that. And I thank her for coming to literally she came to everything. And it was crazy because like if I would get in trouble at school, it'd usually be for something dumb, right? Nothing like crazy, but just like being mischievous again, right? And she walked with a walker. Now this is before somebody like human ingenuity took over and they put the tennis balls on the bottom, right? So now the walkers are kind of quiet. But back then, the walkers sound like the merchant of death, right? So if I would hear that, oh my God, I'm like, this is awful. And kids back in the 80s and 90s were cruel. So they were like, oh, look at your mom. Like, so they're like making fun of her. Like, I'm fighting these kids sometimes. And I'm just like, oh my God. So like, I need to not get in trouble because this is going to be bad every single time. But she showed up literally every single time to every single thing. And I'm just very thankful to her for that. So
that's awesome, Shaun. That's awesome.
Man.
What's up, Doug? You got to follow up to that. I don't know how you do it, but you're going to try.
I follow up that. The only thing I will say is that as a white man, I have never had that fear. Not once. The only time I had any fear of the cops is when I got pulled over in a car full of drunk people and I wasn't driving.
Wow.
And we all went home. We all went home.
I was going to say, let me guess, y'all went home.
They didn't ask. And one of the guys in the car was wearing only underwear, and we had stolen road signs in the car.
What?
And somehow we went home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Shaun already got strip search for nothing, so I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah, that guy stripped himself and got in the car in his underwear, and I was like, Shaun, and the guy's name was Shaun, by the way, which is funny. But I was like, Shaun, why don't you have any pants on or any clothes? He's like, nah.
What? Nah, I'm good.
It doesn't sound like ST was touched in any way, but we've heard stories now coming out. I don't know if you heard, especially out of I'm in Madison, Wisconsin. There's been stories out of Milwaukee where now cops are doing that now.
Yeah.
Because cop in the field. And it's like, what the hell is going on in this motherfucking world? Like, y'all are out of fucking control. It's just really, really fucking sick at this point. But yeah, I don't know if you want to follow up on that or not.
Hey, Doug, real quick, let me just say too, like, just so no one gets it misconstrued, I have a lot of love and respect for police officers that do their job respectfully every day. I have family members that are police officers, you know what I'm saying, that are in the military that serve every single day. It's just like to what you were saying though, Greg, as a black man, that fear is real. It's not imagined. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not making this. So we're not just making it up. And that's just one story. I have 4 or 5 other stories of similar incidents happening in college, right? While I'm a college student, right? Or as a 30-year-old with my kids in the car. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I just want to make that distinction very clear.
And having your own kids too brings on that anxiety of, you know, I don't even think our parents, respectfully, I don't think our parents had the anxiety of this that we do. And I think it's because not that they didn't go through it, not that it wasn't a thing that they didn't know about, but like just the media part of it was not there. Right. And the you know, like watching the George Floyd video, or watching any of these videos is just, for me at this point, too traumatic for me to even see it. Even once, this last one, I saw a little bit of it and I just had to turn it. Yeah. And it becomes trauma for us. And I don't think people really understand how much it is. And then it just gets played on the loop. And then we have, respectfully, dumbass white people talking about it. And it just really goes off the rails for me. That's why, really, since George Floyd, I haven't Doug, you know I'm a news junkie. I haven't watched CNN or any of those things for literally at this point it's becoming years because I just had to turn it off. It's
Yeah.
just too dramatic, and y'all just don't give a fuck on some level. These people and they're limousine liberals or limousine conservatives, whatever. The point is none of y'all don't. It doesn't seem like y'all relating. So I just almost have to be out and then just have to support where I can, Shaun. And that leads me to, unless Doug has a follow up, that leads me to, so being a black brewer, y'all have heard it here a bunch of times, but I'm gonna say it again. And Shaun can correct me because I know he probably knows this shit better than me. In America, we have over 10,000 breweries. Less than 100 of them are black people. Less than what is it? What is it? Less than a third of those have brick and mortar or something like that. I think it's even lower than that. I think I'm even propping up these numbers actually. So what is the number in the DMV area? Look at that, Doug. I know what it stands for now.
Hey,
After
you're
I got
right.
it wrong 6 times. In the DMV area, I would say the DMV area is a hotbed for black brewers. Y'all are together. There's a couple of y'all down there. Y'all seem like family. Doug and I are very, very familiar with the Liquid Intrusion.
Mm-hmm.
I want to call them a gang, but they're not a gang. But like a couple. The Liquid Intrusion couple. But I'm not sure if they added any more people to the mix. But it's a strong couple. Jasmine and Drew. So I know you have them there. I know that we have Mac Bruin at an arm's length, but he's not actually DMV, but he's close.
Right.
But y'all are all tight. So I don't know if you want to talk about that kind of brotherhood that you have with those. Tell us about some events that y'all have coming up. And yeah.
Yeah. No, hey, straight up. So that's a perfect segue into this beer I've been waiting to crack. It's a Black is Beautiful Vanilla Chai Stout from Maryland's only black-owned brick and mortar brewery. I don't know if y'all can see it. If I'm pointing to it right, Patuxent. It's kind of shiny. My angles are terrible. Patuxent Brewing Company and Heavy Seas. So shout out to Patuxent.
Baby.
Yeah, shout out to Davey and Kevin and Gene, even though Gene just announced that he was leaving Patuxent, but shout out to them. They have been great friends and advocates and resources and all of those good things for me personally, for Black Viking, and for a lot of us here in the DMV. And so, I was just Jonathan said, Heavy Seas. So I've been waiting to crack this for a minute. I'm excited to see how this tastes. But yeah, we so you said a few things there. There are right now, the last I checked, about 9,500 breweries, less than 100 black owned. And like you said, the numbers are inflated because most of those breweries, most of us are not brick and mortar breweries. So we are beer brands, beer companies, so to speak. So we brew on contract, right? We own the IP. We have the recipes. We take them to a larger brewer and they brew the beer, package it up. We buy it from them and then we're able to sell it wholesale to different accounts in the retail space, right? And so that, just a quick aside, I understood that very quickly getting into the beer space, right? That we are not a brewery. We are a beer brand. And so that's why I was very intentional about building a brand and not a brewery. There's nuance there, but it's not the same thing. And we could have a whole podcast episode about that. But I feel like that actually has been an advantage for me and for Black Viking, understanding that we are building a brand similar to like Liquid Death, right? It's a very profitable water brand. That time in, so we can get back to what you were just saying. And I think more people need to get that distinction. Anyways, so we have Liquid Intrusion Brewing Company, like you mentioned. Shout out to Drew and Jasmine. I was just with them last night at an event. Great people making great beer. I don't think I have any. Is my son? Shaun, hey, open this plastic thing real quick. And there's a couple loose cans of beer.
Just loose cans floating around.
Man, there's so much beer down here. It's crazy. Look towards the bottom. Look towards
Man,
the other
hey,
side.
we had their collaboration between it was Mac Brewing and what was the other one, Greg?
Amber with the yams. It was Sizzle.
There should be
Sizzle. That's right. It was Sizzle. And,
Yep. Craft the Culture.
That shit was awesome.
Craft the Culture.
Like where your legs are. Where your legs are. Okay, so this is Libco's newest release. Thank you, son. Their newest release. This is what's the name of it again? South of DC Cream Ale, 5%. Super clean, just super easy drinking beer. And then they have the African Queen and her 7 C's.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great beer.
That's a great beer.
Right? So I was just with Drew and Jasmine last night. Again, shout out to them. Joyhound Brewing Company out of Baltimore. Shout out to Alfred. Black Sparrow on the Loose Cans is my next band name. I like that. The Brewing Company that I already mentioned. We have Black Beauty Brewery that just launched a few months ago. Shout out to Sheldon. We have, I know I'm forgetting.
Black Beauty?
Black Beauty. So Sheldon, I think Goins is his last name. He just launched, I feel like maybe back in October. He launched with a bloody orange Saison that is very good. Very, very good. So shout out to him. He wasn't at the event last night, but I know Sheldon. He's a good dude. We've done some events before. On the Maryland side, I'm trying to think of anybody else. We have Black Brew Movement, which is Charles and Courtney Romani. They don't actually brew beer, but they like curate different events and like spread the word as far as marketing and stuff. And then I feel like that's it on the Maryland side. On the DC side, we have Imani Collier from Urban Garden Brewing. We have my man Kofi Moreau from Sankofa Brewing. We have Elliot from Soul Mega.
Soul Mega, I don't know that one.
Soul Mega, yeah, Elliot. They make some good stuff. I think that's the only 3 in DC. And if I forget anybody, please blame it on the brain, not the heart. Right? I think that's everybody.
Beer.
Right, or the beer, right?
Blame it on the alcohol.
Right.
All that Jamie Foxx shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
blame it on the brain, not the heart. I fucking love that. Go on. I'm gonna remember
that. Shout out to my guy Justin Brody with Strange Fruit Brewing. They just got their licensing in Northern Virginia. They're going to be launching late spring, early summer, I believe. And I think that might be it for Black brewers in the DMV. There's a Black-owned brewery in Richmond, I believe, but that we don't technically call that the DMV because that's not Northern Virginia. So, like, where I live in Maryland, in Gaithersburg, Maryland, I could get to DC or Virginia in 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them. Right?
Virginia's fucking enormous, though.
Yeah, exactly. So once you get outside Northern Virginia, that's not technically DMV. Just like Baltimore really is not really DMV. Baltimore is like its own metropolis. But for the sake of Black brewers, we're going to just include the Black Baltimore brewers anyways, right?
It's a hotbed. Actually, y'all got more there than Atlanta area, I believe.
It's close. I know it's close.
Right. And that says a lot because Atlanta is a hotbed and it's an area where many African Americans live. So it has a great African American culture, as we already know.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I mean, and clearly so does the DMV area, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying Atlanta's known for that though. Like that's part of their, part of the drive for Atlanta is, the diversity down there. At least in Atlanta, I know it gets crazy once you get out.
Yeah, once you get outside of Atlanta, that's a bit
2 minutes out of Atlanta. But this is America, though, y'all. You get out of any kind of urban area, it gets to be rural in 2 seconds. But what doesn't get to be rural in 2 seconds is what Doug has his third beer.
Actually, before we go to mine, what's Shaun? Are you?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, what is pouring there?
So yeah, that's
we didn't even get to hear about that.
So chai beers, I'm not a big fan of, but of course I will try that shit. Is it heavy chai? Is my initial question.
Ooh, that is a damn good beer. It's not heavy chai. It definitely comes through.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely get some of that cinnamon, some of that tea.
Yeah,
like on the nose, but it's not overpowering at all, and it does not drink like 8.5% at all. It drinks more like 6.5.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. It's good. It's very good.
Nice.
Not too sweet
Nice.
either. Yeah, they did that right there.
And it's nice to see those Black is Beautiful beers still hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw one in a bottle share, like the original Black is Beautiful from Weathered Souls.
Wow.
Somebody popped that over, and I was like, "Who the fuck brought this?"
Right.
Like somebody had a hookup, and it was the original one, but it was like from their one in Charlotte. Like they would just open a place, and I went to that one in Charlotte. Holy shit! Like the fucking beers they had there are ridiculous. But yeah. So I'm gonna go with this with my little bourbon barrel bottle opener.
Hey.
So what I'm gonna do is so I've never had this. I've had Old Rasputin a million times. This is their bourbon barrel aged Old Rasputin.
Ooh.
I've not had this. So nice Riz, bourbon barrel aged Riz. So I'm really intrigued by this.
Yeah, I'm jealous of this one, right, ST?
I can get more and send you some, Greg, if you don't.
I've never seen that. Have you seen that one, ST?
I have not.
Yeah.
And have to pour it in the requisite glass.
Here we go.
Right. Yeah, I'm jelly too, Daniel.
Yeah, me too.
And honestly, I bought a 4-pack and it was $21, which is a lot for a 4-pack, but for a bourbon barrel aged stout,
it's not that bad. These days, it ain't that bad.
Yeah. So
nice
color on that.
Yeah. Cheers.
Oh, this smells delicious. I'm like, oh. I have to send you guys that. That is fucking delicious. Like seriously, I will get more of this and send you both some of this because this is way better than the regular Rasputin. I don't know how to play. Rasputin has that really great Riz flavor, and it just has that nice boozy bourbon layer right over the top of it. It's 11.6, so it's high. It doesn't taste like 11.6, even with the bourbon flavors. It's more like an 8 is what I would say it tastes like. But that is smooth, drinkable, boozy shit. And just
I gotta look for that. I gotta find that now.
Yeah, I got it.
Right.
Yeah, and if you can't, I will get some to you because that is awesome. Like seriously, fucking great beer. Greg, you see me have a few beers in here that were nearly like the best one was the Mac Brewing fucking lemongrass honey.
Oh yeah.
That shit I about had an orgasm on the screen when I drank it. It was so freaking good.
Is that the one I like? I like the Last of the Mohicans, right? Is that the one?
Last of the Mohicans was the one you liked more, but that other one that was like I had that in the show and he sent me some and I was like, oh.
So Doug, now you have some people scrambling. So look, now I will head out.
Anybody who wants some,
I gotta find it.
Hey, anybody who wants some, just message me. I have a hookup to find it. I know they have more of the 4-packs, so I can buy 4-packs. I'll be happy to send them out.
Yo, ST Jade, she says if you find it, let him know.
Got it.
He's in your area. He's in Alexandria.
Okay. Yeah. Now that's a bet.
Yeah. Oh man. So you sent people scrambling, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, I've never even seen that one, and I love North Coast.
I hope that.
Yeah, so, that was just something that I just saw, and I was like, a bourbon? Okay, well, I'm grabbing that. I don't care that it was $21, and normally I'm a little frugal with stuff sometimes, but not that. I was like, that's coming home with me. So, yeah, I have more. I can get more of that.
It's a good pickup.
So,
one of them went in my cellar fridge already, so I can age it. So we'll see how that turns out. Sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
No worries. So, ST, during my Oprah rant, I went on a rant about appreciating things and people while they're still around, as opposed to waiting until they're gone and then saying, "Oh man, I love that shit. That was the best in the whole world. Oh my god, I'm gonna miss that shit."
Right.
Like like LeBron kind of reminds me of that now. Like on some level, whether you respect or like him or not, it just seems like some people have a level of just being sick of him, and you're not gonna be sick of him when he's gone.
Yep.
And it was kind of like Kobe kind of gave that off, but Kobe was actually, before he passed, in my opinion, he was really turning a corner on like getting rid of all that negative things that he had, whether it be the rape stuff or whether it just be Kobe being Kobe, which was just a high person who pressed a lot and asked a lot of people around him,
Yeah.
and had a big high standard for himself and people around him to do really well. That kind of rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah.
So where am I going with this? Well, my thing is that, like, can you give us some tangible things that we can do to help Black brewers, or to help? So say we love Black Viking. I love Black Viking. You already know, but I'm out here in Wisconsin. So
Right.
what are the best ways? As you, someone who's building a brand and understand all these dynamics, because you've been in this mess for now 3 years, and you couldn't have picked a harder time to start a social brand, because that's what basically beer is. It's
Yeah.
a social brand.
Yeah.
And then you went out and picked the hardest time, probably in a millennium, ST, to,
Hey, let's use it when everybody's locked in their house.
right. Since prohibition, it hasn't really been that hard, or you know what I mean. And then before that was the previous pandemic. So how do we support you? How do we support our local business, our local brewers, all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, okay, so when you talk about Black and local, then obviously it's patronize their spot. If they have a brick and mortar spot, you got to go check them out, right? Go support them. If you feel like there's something they can improve on, let them know, right? Like, but let them know. Don't go on social media and go off on a tangent, talk bad about them and all that. But like, be an advocate and an ally for these folks, right? And have some real conversations with them. But yeah, number one is supporting through the purchasing, right? Number two, you have a brick and mortar spot that's Black owned or a Black owned beer brand, if you go into your local bottle shop or your restaurant, even if they don't have that specific beer, ask for it. Because when you ask for it, then if enough people, if they hear it enough times from enough people, then they will start to say, well, who are these people? And they'll figure it out. They'll go on Instagram, they will go on the website or whatever. Like, I can't tell you how many people, like, we've got, like, how many customers we've gotten off word of mouth because someone went and asked someone, oh, how come you don't have Black Viking? And people DM us, and a few days later, we're into a new account. So, ask for folks' brands by name. And then I think just what y'all are doing right now, real talk, like spreading awareness, because there are so many levels to why, like, so 9,000 breweries with less than 100 Black owned is a scary number, right? I always tell people the scarier number to me is that 10 years ago, there was only a few thousand breweries, maybe 5,000 breweries, right? So in 10 years, 5,000 breweries have been built, and we are still under 100, which means that the brewery industry, I mean, this is a revolutionary time in the brewing industry over the past 10, 15 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
We have been totally left out of this boom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what concerns me, right? Because it's like we're not keeping up with the rate that velocity at all.
Right.
And part of the reason, and not, I'm not going to bore you guys with too much stuff, but lack of access to generational wealth is a big part of the reason why that is the case, right?
Yes, sir.
And so, you have people that started breweries that, their dad refinanced the home, their parents refinanced the home, or they were able to come out of college with less debt or no debt. So they have better credit. They can go to a bank and get, loans and stuff. We weren't, as Black people, able to get legitimate home mortgages because of redlining, because of racist real estate policies.
Yes,
Our grandparents didn't benefit from the GI Bill the same way that the previous white generations did. So we don't have capital. And brewing, opening up a physical brewery is a very capital intensive process, right? You have to have a lot of equipment, insurance, materials, labor, all of that stuff, right? So that's part of the reason why when folks say, well, how come there aren't more Black breweries? That's a large part of the reason why. And then we can't typically go into a bank and get a loan that's $500,000 or $1 million to start up a brewery, right? Or we can't get a bunch of friends together and pool resources and do that. And brewing has been seen as not a black man's sport or not a black woman's sport, even though it really is, because the
Right.
oldest brewery ever excavated
Right.
was in Africa, right?
Yes, sir.
And then when you go to the founding of this country, brewing was seen as a domestic chore. So who did the majority of brewing in the 18th and 17th and the 19th century? It was mostly black women, right? Like that. These are the facts. But when you talk about an actual industry, the beer industry, I mean, there's a whole history behind that. And there's certain books that you can read to get hip to those things. But like we have been left out of these spaces financially and socially. And so you got to ask for things by name. You got to support your local black brewers, and you got to spread awareness. And so for me, it's like I'm obviously a black man. I'm very unapologetic about that. But like I tell anyone, we are black owned. We're not black only. So we want to appeal to everybody, right? I got big love for Doug. I got big love for Greg. I got big love for everybody that represents these tenants that are just good ass people that like good beer. And so, yes, we face some obstacles. Yes, we face some straight up racism, even in Maryland. Like the city I live in, Gaithersburg, is oftentimes called the most diverse city in the country. And I face some straight up racism where I'm like, oh damn, I didn't expect to run into that, right? But I've also had a lot of people help me. We've had a lot of advocates, right? And a lot of partners, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, male, female, because we I think we're building something very organic and very real that people can get behind. And so, I hope I gave you some tangible steps. I've got some ideas and strategies that I'm putting into place to kind of accelerate this awareness. Black Viking TV will be going on the road this summer, trying to just connect with great people all throughout the country on some Anthony Bourdain type stuff. So to bring some awareness again to what we're doing, because I get a lot of hits on social media, right? But also when I do earned media, which is Fox 5 News, which is Yahoo Finance, which is Black Enterprise, all things that Black Viking has been in, that just accelerates the visibility substantially. And we did the collab with Red Bear. We've got a couple collabs coming out in April. And then we have another collab coming out in April that's with a national brewery, with a big dog brewery. I can't announce it just yet. I'm sorry, but like that will increase our visibility and in turn increase our legitimacy to certain people, if that makes sense.
Okay, so when you Doug, I was going to let you have the follow up. I'm sorry, I got to jump in here. So when you do this big collab, is it going to be available like where I live?
It won't be. It'll just be available in this one city. And if I told you the city, I think you would know the brewery. So I'm not going to say the city. But I'm trying to.
I tried, y'all. I tried. I did try that.
It's Berlin, isn't it? It's Berlin. Like, holy shit, Berlin.
But yeah, I'm communicating with this brewery to say we have a very, I don't want to say loyal fan base. We have a very strong family, because I always say Black Viking, we're a family. We don't have followers, we have family, right? And they are going to support this. I have people that are already making travel plans to go to this place, people in my inner circle that are like, oh yeah, I'm there. So when this thing does really well, then hopefully they would brew it on a larger scale and make it available in more places. But we gotta part of the reason why I do Black Viking TV is to engage with the Black Viking family, but also to bring awareness to what I'm doing. Because if I don't champion my brand, and I was just having this conversation with Drew and Charles last night, if you don't champion your brand, whether it's your podcast, your show, your beer, your t-shirt, whatever it is, if you don't champion it more than anybody else, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for you. You have to make people care. You know what I'm saying? People are busy. They have a million things to think about. Why should they care about Black Viking? I have to make them care by caring first myself. And so increasing that visibility for my brand is definitely going to, and for the the larger industry, or the industry at large, I should say, will the money is already starting to come in because people are starting to say, oh, this is a real thing. It's just we got to kick down a lot of doors that have not been open for us so that the people coming behind us won't have to do that. And we got,
Preach.
I give out
Preach.
free information all the time. So as far as Drew, Sheldon, like I had a long conversation with them before they got into the game where I was just giving them knowledge. The folks at Patuxent did the same thing for me. And so, I feel like we kind of some like trailblazers, I guess you could call it. Like, not because we necessarily want to be, but we have to be. Because if we don't do it, it's not going to be done.
Doug, good luck.
Yeah. Thanks. No, I'm super looking forward to this because if it's something where it's within driving distance for me, I would love to be able to help and help by just supporting. Help is a big word for, I'm just some schmo from upstate New York.
No, that ain't it though. That ain't it. But like, Doug, all of this stuff matters. Every person that we did a tasting last night. Every person that I poured a little bit of Zinger beer for and had an interaction with, they matter. Like and as you're building a company or a brand, if you don't get that part, I mean, maybe you still win. I don't know, but I don't feel like I could win like that. Like I need you to know, like, I appreciate you guys opening up your platform for me right now. You don't have to do this. So I'm very thankful to be here. So now you're not just some small, as you said, from upstate. Nah, you Doug. Like, I rocks with Doug. Doug is my man. I get down with Doug. You know what I'm saying? So like every person, so we just signed a huge distribution deal. It's going to take us from 30 stores to like 300 stores in Maryland, right? That's because the people went to the distributors, or I'm sorry, they went to the accounts. I told y'all before. Why do you don't have Black Viking here? Black Viking is good beer. It's Black owned. They got a great story. This guy is doing ooh and going crazy. Like, you should have their beer here. And then the accounts called their distributors and said, why don't we have this Black Viking we keep hearing about? You see what I'm saying? So now we're going to 10x our business and our revenue because of the people. The people did that, right? I may have got them hyped, but bringing the VA, we coming to VA. We coming to DC in April. We coming to VA by June. We'll be in Pennsylvania by June. We'll be in.
So you're getting close. VA is not that far, man. It's my state down.
Listen, man. We've had people contact us from New York as well. We've had people contact us from California and London. Now it's about just executing, right? And Drew and I talked about this a lot last night. A lot of people are talking, right? And I'm not throwing shade at anybody, right? But who's doing the work, right? Like you guys are doing your show, right? You show up and you do, like, it's a great format. It's very polished. Like, the communication was very clear between Greg and I. Like, seriously though, like, you're not just setting it up and doing it on a whim. You can tell that you guys put thought into this, right? So you're doing the work. I've had to say to other people, where's your beer? You telling me how you want to brew this, you want to brew. Well, where is it? Right? Because if you want to do it, then just like the guy that you was telling us about earlier, Doug, the spy, aviator, jazz playing, bare knuckle fighting dude, Bullard. Like, you got to do it. And so for me, like, I'm a dog. I'm a dog. Like, that's it. I'm gonna show up and do the work. I may get it wrong. I may, whatever. I may not get it right, and that's fine. But I'm like a running back, man. Like, people want to be the quarterback, be the flash one. I'm a running back. I'm gonna get hit and fall forward, get 3-4 yards, get my ass up. I'm gonna do it again, right? So, like, again, all of that stuff matters, man, and that's why I know we will become the country's first Black-owned, nationally distributed beer brand. It's just what it's gonna be.
Yes,
my man Zach, appreciate you, bro.
Yes, Doug, I'm not used to you being able to put comments up. So it's great.
I was just waiting until Shaun was finished. So like, I'm testing the water.
Right, but Zach took the words out of my mouth because I'm like, I'm here for this. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
will say that was me saying that. For some reason, it's not affiliating it with Facebook. But when I took, so there's a bottle share I go to that's twice a month, and I took Zinga beer there, and the one guy who was the head brewer, who we're going to have in the show at some point at this brewery, said, "Where the fuck did you get that? Because I want more of that." And so he's
The
like, I
North.
want the North Brewery, which is right like 5 miles, not
Doug.
2 miles from my house.
Doug, that could be a potential collab at some point
I would
because
love that.
he
I
already
thought-
respects Shaun's beer.
Yeah.
So
and I went to when we went to Barrel and Flow, I took a crowler of one of their beers to Barrel and Flow, put it in the bottle share. And what's funny is there's this guy goes up and goes, "Hey, where the fuck did you get that?" And I was like, "What?" And it was a guy who I knew who owned a restaurant, and the restaurant didn't work out, but he was like, "Hey man, like where do I?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, you used to own this restaurant." He goes, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yeah, I know, Zach. And like, I'm glad you brought some of their stuff." So he took a picture of me with the beer and sent it to him. But that's the thing. I said, "Zach, if you want to get your shit out, you want to do something at a festival that's fucking great and people are paying attention and you can get your feet in with some people, a market you don't even think of, because where I live is predominantly overwhelmingly white. This is it. This is the kind of thing you want to do." And he's like, "That sounds pretty good." And he was like, I talked to him about trying to possibly be a vendor there. And I honestly, the guy, Greg's been there when he was here. I took him there, and they're known for stouts. They make fucking great stouts. They've gotten into the sour game and done pretty well with sours, but like, man, I would love to see them collaborate with somebody.
Doug, they should collaborate with us, me and you.
right.
Well,
Think about it, Doug.
what kind of ideas am I giving him? Hey.
Oh, well, but I think the point is we would listen, like Shaun says, we'll just stay in our lane and let the experts do that shit. So our friend Brianna, because you got her, what is it, banana, what was it, banana split in a jar or whatever.
It's a banana pudding in a cup. And
you got
I was like,
but hold on, no, she's not a brewer. She doesn't brew beer, but she had a collab with Necromancer, as you already know. So my point is that we could collab with the North Brewing if they're able to get their beers there. We're at Barrel and Flow. All we got to do is fill out that sheet. You have to go down there to talk to the North, come up with some porter or some big stout that you and I would love. They come up with the recipe.
No.
All that.
Black IPA. Black IPA.
Whatever, man. Whatever. I don't care.
Nobody makes that shit. So
my point is that we should be thinking about this, because I think we could get a collab going.
Absolutely. Y'all should definitely do it. Definitely. And like, sorry to just jump in, but one other reason why black brewers have not like been able to crack that ceiling, so to speak, and some people may get pissed at me right now, but I really don't care, is because we haven't thought big enough.
Yes.
Right? So like when you're having this idea about doing a collab, do it. You guys have a platform. You know good beer. You have good contacts, right? And you know someone who makes good beer. Figure out the packaging and all of that. Storyboard that shit and do it. Why not? People gonna support it. I'm gonna support it. People that's in your community gonna support it.
Yeah, they will.
Why not?
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, they would. We could probably send a whole lot.
Yeah, I want to share some that Zach posted, which he's exactly right.
Oh, okay.
And he's exactly right. And unfortunately, he's right. Like, this is how we grow black business from our perspective. We don't honestly, we don't get to say much, and we shouldn't. What we should do is amplify those voices and put our money where our mouth is. And that's what we should do. And that was part of the reason, like, when we went to fucking Barrel and Flow, I didn't want to say shit. I wanted to sit there and listen. And who needs to hear shit from me? Like, nobody. But what I'm saying is, like, this is how I'm just a regular white guy, but I'm a white guy that can maybe, hey, look at this. This fucking beer is great. this festival's great. These people are great. Let's fucking promote that shit. Like, we got a million fucking white ass breweries, and not that they don't do good stuff, but if you're not promoting the folks that need the help, because as you said, Shaun, you're at a disadvantage. The generational wealth thing is a real fucking thing.
Mhm.
And it reminded me of something that's going to sound really dumb, but really important to me is, so my wife and I watch House Hunters way too much. It's fucking dumb.
I love that. No, I love that show. My best friend's a real estate agent. I love that. It's a great show.
Yeah, but the best thing,
Look, it could be a great show, still be dumb, Shaun. Go on. Go on, Doug.
but the point is like the most recent seasons, they have really sort of focused on this idea of people of color and growing generational wealth by buying a house. I'm the first people in my family to buy a house. I can't tell you the amount of people I've seen in the past like 4 seasons where just that is a theme. And I love that because it is a thing. Like, people don't understand the idea of like my parents are white and like they bought a house and it was not terribly hard for them to do so.
Yeah.
And they were lower middle class. But if you take a lower middle class white family and a lower middle class black family, 2 completely different playing fields.
Absolutely.
Because, like my parents weren't wealthy because they grew up in a depression. They hoarded shit, but they knew how to save money, but they could because they were white people who got good jobs and do all that shit. And it's this weird snowball. Everything connects in that respect because like my ancestors, while I didn't grow up wealthy by any stretch, I had a lot of inherent advantages. Like, I went to prison for a fucking year because I was a gambling addict. And when I got out, I got a job with a Fortune 500 company because I was white, not because I was skilled. It was because I was white and I looked non-threatening to them. That was literally it. And it is something, and it's something to sit there, and I have to sit with that and realize how can I utilize that to help people that have that disadvantage. Like, how do I speak where I'm not taking over the conversation, because that's the wrong approach, but to amplify folks that need amplification. That makes sense. Maybe I'm just talking about my ass. I've had 3
That makes perfect sense, man. I mean, again, one of my best friends and business partners is a wildly successful real estate agent. Nigerian dude. He was the president of the Maryland Association of Realtors. He is on the national board. He's on the board for the National Association of Realtors. He's got the Teslas, an acre of land in DC, the full court badge. He's got all of that. So he gets all the inside intel as far as how the real estate game works. And he has even shown me, he hasn't shown me, he's told me that he's seen contracts that explicitly say, like, houses that are not that old, but like deeds for houses that say you cannot sell this house to a non-white person, right? And so generational wealth is built through home ownership. That's just a fact. Most people's equity is what equates to their wealth, right? Their overall not income. I'm thinking I'm blanking on the term right now because I had a couple beers.
Net worth.
Their net worth. Thank you, Greg. Their net worth, right? That's directly tied to the equity you have in your home or your homes in some cases.
Yep. And your home is the biggest transaction that most people make in their life.
Facts. Exactly.
Period. So, and then Zach is spitting facts all over the comment section. So much so that our friend Aaron is getting freaked out.
Zach is usually buck wild by a lot.
Well, you can see a little bit of Doug, you still look threatening to me.
I am an old white guy.
So Yo, that's hilarious.
So, Doug, unfortunately, this is the time where we start to wind things down and we let our guests go because we're not paying you and we're not trying to have you on here for like 6 hours. Like, but we do love everything about you, ST, and what you're doing and all of that. Look, we even love you so much that look, even Aaron said, I think ST's better looking than the underwear guy in Doug's car. So we have that.
I'm gonna say that was a pretty low fucking bar.
Well, Doug, for some reason I have Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers where he wears that like sock in front of his like dick and like that's all he's wearing.
But
that's what I'm kind of picturing.
But imagine Flea at 250 pounds.
Ain't Flea. That's
what was in the car next to me.
Yeah, I'm not really even trying to think about Flea with no clothes on, but like now we're here, so I guess
Flea and tiny whiteys at 250 pounds.
Some skinny little like He needs he looks hungry.
Oh my god.
So anyway. Right. Look, wind down. You still got 2 more hours.
Zach was on. Sean.
No, we don't.
Zach was on here, and we went 3 hours and 45 minutes because we just couldn't get the show shut down because Zach was just fucking owning.
He would just not. He just would not allow it. But we're going to.
We're not doing that to you.
So, Doug, do you have anything else for ST here before we?
No, man. I just want to say, 1, Zynga beer is fucking delicious. 2, I'm really looking forward to trying your other stuff, especially the Stroop. There it is. I hope you guys, as you said, can become nationally distributed. Sorry, I'm on a verge of a burp there, and I couldn't but no, you're a fucking force of nature, and this is part of the reason why we wanted to have you on. As you say in the whole real talk, as a white guy saying that. So there's two people I met at Barrel and Flow that were forces of nature, and it was you and Teo from
yes, sir. We're working on him.
You and him both, like, you talk to both of you, and you feel like you're going to run through a wall afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's fucking great, and please keep doing that shit because that's what we need.
Man, I appreciate that, Doug. Thank you so much, man.
And I remember I was fanboying too. Like, you walked into that to the hotel for like the synopsis, and I was like, Doug, that's Shaun from Black Bacon.
Man.
Like, it was I was like, what? Like,
nah, I appreciate that, man. Like, for real, this is very humbling, man. And you know, I'm just a dude that's rolling up his sleeves every day, putting the work in. And I just feel so extremely honored and blessed to be able to hang out with you guys on your platform, to meet so many great people in this beer industry from all walks of life, to enjoy this divine nectar from the gods called beer, and to make a little bit of money doing it, man. Like, this is great, man. I feel like I'm in heaven, or to go with the Black Viking ethos in Valhalla. Like, this is great, man. So, you know, thank you.
So I asked you a long-winded ass question with like 3 fucking things, and you didn't get to the 3rd thing, so I'm gonna ask it again. No worries. What's coming up? What kind of events you got going?
Right.
Especially people who are close to you, like JHG. He wants to know what the hell's going on so he can support you, because I know he does. First of all, JHG, do what Shaun says, which is when you go to your bottle stores and you don't see Black Viking, say, where the hell's Black Viking?
That's it.
So then that's number 1. But what's going on, ST? What else is going on within the near future out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had an event last night with the Black Maryland Brewers. Where was that? Sorry. That was at Frisco's Tap House in Crofton, Maryland. That was super dope. Shout out to Frisco. They have probably 100 beers on tap. Everyone is super dope. A lot of great food, great energy. So that was really cool to do that last night. And then next Friday and Saturday, I'm doing a 2-day tasting at Wine Districts in Frederick, Maryland, which is the western part of the state. So I'll be doing a 2-day tasting there. But on Saturday, I'm also doing a tasting with the other black owned breweries. And I hope Mac drives down as well. Shout out to Mac. Real quick, when we launched our Zinger beer in October 2021, Mac drove down from Philly, him and his sister. Like he DM'd me and said, I'm driving down. And I was like, he's not really driving down, right? So as I'm getting ready on the day of, I accidentally like called him on through Instagram. I don't even know how it happened. Like I fumbled my phone and I'm like, Mac's like, yo, what's going on? I'm like, oh shit. Like, oh, what's up, Mac? And he was like, yeah, what's up, man? We're like an hour out. I'm like, an hour out from where? He's like, from Gaithersburg. I'm like, oh, you really are coming. And he showed up. So I always got love for Mac.
Mac's got the goods, man.
He's just a real dude and a phenomenal brewer. So we'll be at Whitey's for an event. Whitey's is right outside of Baltimore.
Right. The place is Whitey's.
Hey, look, it sounds funny, right? But my man Rob G, who's the beer buyer there, he is super supportive of Black-owned businesses. Like he goes out of his way. He came out last night. Yeah, so we will all be there. I will leave straight from the Whitey's event to drive out to Frederick, which if y'all know Maryland, that's like 45 minutes away to go do the second day of the tasting. And then we got some Black Viking TV episodes coming up next Wednesday and Thursday, special days. The last Sunday of the month, we have a DMV Black Brewers Collective at Metro Bar, which is a dope spot. They took an old Metro car and turned it into a bar and like a whole outdoor seating area type situation. And so I think that's all the events for February. And then to be honest, fellas, I'm shutting it down for events for March because April is going to be a big, well, let me take that back. Late March, we have a collab coming out with Saints Row, which is Hispanic owned brewery, and Sankofa Beer Company, which is a Black owned beer brand. So that's going to come out the end of March, but no tasting events or anything like that because April 6th, we have the big national collab that we're doing. Announcements on that coming soon. Mid-April, we have a collab with DC Brow, which is DC's largest brewery. We're about to go into the DC market really, really heavy as well. And then either at the end of April or the beginning of May, we will launch our Queen drink, companion to Zinger beer, because like I said, this is our king. People think that this is our logo. That's our king. That's King Cross. And the story behind that, just real quick, I was adopted, right? I told y'all that whole story. A few months, like after my mom passed, my best friend, who I've known since I was 5 years old, right? His parents really like stepped up and like we were already close, but they stepped up into just a deeper way and were really looking out for me, checking in on me like every day. And I was like, one day I was like, you know, why are you guys calling me so much and all that? You know, I'm at school, whatever. Just curious because it was just like they really stepped up. Like it was very like intentional, right? And my guy, so my best friend's name is Trey. His dad, Lawrence Cross II, said, well, you don't notice, but a few months before your mom passed, she had came to us and said, if anything happens to me, y'all take care of my son, right? And she wasn't sick or anything at that time, but just she planted that seed. And they have stepped up in a major way to the point where now my kids call them grandma and grandpa, right? Mm-hmm. And their last name is Cross. So that was a way for me to honor them, to say King Cross, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the queen, her name is Queen Naya. Naya in Swahili means purpose and tenacity, right? Also, what did I tell y'all my mom's name was? Ranya, Ronnnya. Naya is N-Y-A. It's the last three letters of my mom's name. So I'm being very, very intentional with every piece of this puzzle, right? Because you got to be, because like I said to you earlier, Doug, it all matters. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very excited to release the Queen's drink. That's not the name of it. I can't give away too many details, but she is coming out. She's been done for almost a year, but I just was like strategically putting some things in place. And when she comes out,
what style? Can you tell us style?
I can't. It's a totally unique thing, okay. But it's going to enhance the story of the Black Vikings. So for that, we're doing a black bottle brunch where we are going to a black-owned venue. We have hired a black catering service / chef. We have black beer, obviously, black-owned liquor, black-owned wine, and even black-owned bottled water, alkaline water.
When is this?
So that will
April?
in either late April or early May. We're solidifying the dates within the next couple weeks. So be on the lookout for that announcement probably in early March. Yeah.
Baron Flow this year?
Oh, for sure. For sure. We just trying to
Okay.
figure
Oh,
out.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I already got
Okay.
my ticket.
Make
so
sure. You
Yeah.
make sure. Question for you.
Yes.
Where is
Theater?
Metro Bar?
Oh, okay. Northeast DC. Northeast, yeah. Metro Bars in DC, yup, in Northeast. Not too far from Noma.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron makes an astute point here. If there's ever a place that's supporting black-owned businesses, let's go Whitey's. Right. Thank you, Aaron.
That's why I was cracking up. You're like Whitey's. I'm like, holy shit.
Right. That's the irony there is just amazing. It's great.
It is. And I was a little hesitant at first. I was like, I'm not messing. What are you talking about? I'm not messing with that. And then I met the dude Rob, and Rob was so cool. And like this whole industry, for real, like most industries, but this industry, I feel like especially is built on relationships. And Rob has been someone that has put me in different positions behind the scenes, never asked for anything, right? Like even when this national brand, they started doing their due diligence to say, are we going to partner with this guy? Right? They called some of my accounts, and Rob vouched for me in a very, very positive way. So Whitey's, even though it's a class,
It's a Whitey name.
like, but they're great people and they have a great selection.
But that's the good part and the bad part about this industry, and that's why, respectfully, Shaun, I don't even know. Usually, people say respectfully, and they hit you with a fucking something bad.
Right.
No, but respectfully, Shaun, that's why you're a smart motherfucker, because you have no. But you've realized that it's about connections, and that's why it feels so non-inclusive at times, because we don't have those connections as Black people into the white society or the white what's the word I want to use, nature of this business. So if you don't have those connections, it's hard for you to make connections. But you, my friend, are breaking down that barrier clearly, as something that you probably noted as a problem, or as something that you have to. It's not really necessarily a problem. Like for example, I'm a homeschooler. Okay, everybody's like socialization. No, socialization is not a problem unless you make it a problem.
Right.
Like if I shelter my kids and I don't give them out and I don't get them around other kids, or we don't have conversations about how you talk to women, how you talk to men, how you appear as a Black kid, all that, then socialization, it's going to be important. But if you take steps to mitigate that, then you can, work within those systems like you are doing. But you're right. I mean, you nailed it when you said that this industry is about connections. And that's what I love about Baron Flow too, because Baron Flow is breaking down connections. You got motherfuckers like Ale Sharpton collabing with New Belgium.
Right.
And that shit was a hit. I'm still waiting for y'all to make that shit available to people like me, because it was Piano Keys. It's just a fucking amazing beer. I don't know if you've ever had it, Shaun, but it is fucking killer.
It is.
And that's an example, Doug, of an influencer in a brewery. So he's not a brewer at all. So there is an opportunity for us, Doug. We just have to be persistent.
Yeah, but the thing is, the spearhead has to be you.
Well, the spearhead has to. Well, it can be you. Why can't it be you? You're white. You flex that. You flex that shit. This is where. Hold on. This is where. I understand the nature of. I clearly understand the nature of Baron Flow, and I understand that. But
that's why
clearly,
it can't be.
No. But again, there will be no collabs at Baron Flow if it wasn't for white people. Respectfully, because Necromancer, I mean, I can go down the list of breweries that are white owned. Trogs.
That's
And
what
then-
we did our collab with.
Yeah.
Right. So my point is that like there are white people involved. You just have to know your place and you just have to work it. But you and I could work something, dog, and we just need to, brothers
Well,
and
we-
blues plural. Just saying,
Yeah, we did.
we
we
would
did
just have to
also-
we just have to find the right fit, and we could work that. Hell,
Well,
I bet you we could get either Venture or our buddies at
Venture would
Giant
be
Jones
great.
could do it. I would think
Oh,
the problem is, Doug, is getting that beer from Wisconsin to Barrel Flow. That's the problem.
yeah. that
So,
would be the problem.
but I don't think we have. Hell, we got one right here. Why don't we ask this motherfucker? So then again, you can always ask. If you get shot down, you get shot down.
Hey,
But
how about a
ST,
white stout?
But ST, you didn't get ST, you didn't get to where you were taking notes. And in fact, you're probably one of those people that like no's. If I had to guess, I could be wrong, but I don't really mind a no. I'm cool with that because I know that there's all other places that I can just roll up to. I don't give a fuck about a no, to be honest with you.
Right.
I
mean,
really don't.
And my thing is this too. Like I said, you got to think big. And so,
Right.
like, whenever typically I ask for something, I know exactly what I'm asking for. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't come in haphazardly. It's not like, not thought out. Like, I've thought about this a million times, and I'm presenting it in a way that is going to either add value to what you're doing and hopefully be mutually beneficial for both parties. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's the way. And usually most people won't say no if you ask with that level of intentionality and value add. But I will say about Barrel and Flow last year, which I absolutely love Barrel and Flow. It's my favorite beer festival I've ever been to. I wasn't going to do a collab last year. I was going to go to Barrel and Flow just as a fan, right? Enjoy the beers, walk around, meet people and all that. And Mac, shout out to Mac again. Mac calls me one day, hey, Trogs wants to do something with someone from the DMV. They see that y'all are, bubbling out there a little bit. Like, can I connect y'all? I'm like, yeah. So then a day later, I'm talking to John Trogner, one of the owners of Trogs, and I'm like, oh, okay, let's do it. So we end up doing that, right? It's a hit. The beer does phenomenal. Like, the whole experience is phenomenal. I meet you guys, right? But also I meet folks that was there from this big brewery, right? And I meet beer buyers from Whole Foods that cover the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic, right? So, like, the amount of connection that came off of Mac just putting in a good word,
Yes.
like, the cascading effect has been incredible. We still feeling the ripple effects to this day. And like I said, big release in April, and then some Whole Food stuff coming in the summertime. So, like, yeah, go. You guys should definitely do it. And if I'm on record right now saying if there's anything I can do to help figure this out, let me know. I'm just a phone call away. I'll quickly jump on a Zoom call or a conference call or whatever and help in any way that I can.
Well, that is really cool. And I want to thank you for that.
Of
Doug
course.
and I both thank you. And you said it, man, so I'm gonna keep in mind. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm gonna use that shit. But real quick though, Zach says, I'm sorry, did you say L Sharpton? Ha ha ha. That name is great.
No,
yes,
that is
I
Al
did. Here he is. He's dope.
He had him on deck. He had him ready to pull out.
Yes. Well, I went and did that. That's L Sharpton. He's out of Atlanta. He's dope as hell. And we got to get him on here, Doug. I will refresh my chase of him.
We had him on here in I think our first year.
I had him on Meet My Friends. He was never on here Friday.
He was never on the Friday.
Yeah,
so I love Ale. That's my guy.
Ale is just great. He's just a great advocate. He's full of energy, full of knowledge, smart as hell, connected, dope as hell. Everything about that man. Y'all need to figure it out. Y'all need to check him out. We will have him here at some point. He's agreed to come on, and then I was a bonehead and didn't contact him. So it's my fault. Blame me. That's a fact. That's the truth. Shit happens, so shit falls through the cracks. You already know.
We'll work
Daniel,
on that. We'll work on that. We'll work.
sure. He's dope though, and he's busy as hell. And Fridays is a hard time to get anyone. It took me a little bit to get ST here. I've been trying, or not trying, but I've been wanting to get him since we went to Baron Flow. But I just rolled up on him recently, and he was cool. He had but again though, Fridays are kind of prime time for this industry, so we got to be patient with that. But yeah, so there's a big Baron video game music show every year. They had a whole segment of people of color who are musicians. I feel like could be a good, easy weekend.
Never heard of that, but that's fucking pretty cool.
Yeah,
Hell
I never
yeah.
heard of that either.
Hell yeah. And then you get some Black Viking. So last question, Shaun, and we'll let you go. We do a little thing here with we have a little after party if you would like to join us. And we like to ask off the cuff questions then.
Okay.
Shit that we would probably never ask you on here because for various reasons. So you are more than welcome to stick around when we let you go. But the last question is, when does that Stroop Woofle drop? It dropped already, or what's going on with it? Let everybody know what's up one more time.
Yeah, it dropped last Thursday. We had the opportunity to go on Fox 5 DC, the Lion lunch hour. So it's Like It or Not. And the folks, the anchors and everyone, they loved it. And it was super cool, man. It was cool because I've had the opportunity to go on Fox 5 a couple times, but it was very important for me to bring in my folks from Red Bear, not just because we did the collab, but to have Nicole on camera. And she's one of only a handful of Black female professional brewers in the country, right? And to have her tell her, is no more than 10, right?
Right.
And so to have her tell her story was just a very humbling moment for me. And she's more of an introvert, so to see her kind of come out of her shell, when people talk about things they're passionate about, they get a little more comfortable. So to see her do that, it was a beautiful thing. And then the launch party, people were running up to her. A lot of Black women were running up to her like, "Yo, you brewed this beer. This is amazing," and it was just great, man. So. Yeah, the Stroop Waffle Stout is already out. Stroop, there it is.
So how much has been made? And like, if I want it, Jay, she was talking about going. Does he have to go immediately, or is there a lot made?
No, there's not a lot made at all. So I would say, head to Red Bear like soon. Okay. And if he's not in DC, you can hit me up. Hit me up on IG at Black Viking Brewing. Let me know like exactly what area you're in. So I could tell you, because like a couple of our folks in distro got it, but not a lot. Maybe like 5-6 accounts, and they only got like 3 cases. So
you hear that, JHG? You hear that? You hear that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, hit me up. I'm responsive.
All right. So Aaron's gonna give you a warning here. The guys start asking you about biscuits and mac and cheese. Run for the hills.
Taste the biscuit.
We're probably gonna leave that one go.
Yo, what? He said biscuits and mac and cheese.
Dude, we do some really food shaming shit on here sometimes, so we didn't subject you to that this time.
Okay.
I mean, we could, if he really wants to, we could, Doug. I mean, it's not.
Dude, we're almost 2.5 hours in. Let's
okay.
Well, hold on. Now you got me intrigued though. What is you do food shaming? What you mean by that?
Of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce.
What?
Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
What the hell is this?
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the butter spread. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the butter spread.
The butter spread.
To get your butter spread on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my mac and cheese.
It is. Okay.
KFC. You got that special sauce to stir my
somebody get Paul the Dean out of here,
curiosity.
man. What the hell is going on? Yo, what was that?
That is a Brothers and Booze favorite. Like, no joke. We have played that on multiple shows, and it's just this fucking weird thing. I found it. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then Greg's like, all right, we need to play that. And I'm like,
Yo.
yeah, we do.
That is great.
Well, Doug, look, this is my favorite song.
Oh no.
Hey, Utah District 12, listen up right here. There's a new name on the ballot for the Senate this year. My name is Linda Paulson.
Look at Sean's face.
Love God and family
What
and the
is this?
Constitution. I tried to get another conservative to run. Nobody could do it, so I'm getting it done. I'm
okay.
freedom, pro-life, pro-police, the right to bear arms and the right to free.
No.
Yeah.
See?
Why would you do this to Shaun?
It's the first part is really what gets.
That bit right there, just a fucking goofy white woman just being like, ha.
So she knows she's rocking it. So y'all can laugh all y'all want. Okay? Laugh all y'all want. Oh, by the way, she lost. Just so you know.
Yes, you did.
Of course you lost.
So yeah, Shaun, normally we play stupid ass videos and then we laugh, but we felt that you were above all that. So we didn't do that. But these motherfuckers in the comment section wouldn't let you go. So you gotta blame them.
So,
Right.
Hey,
Right.
this is great.
Right.
This is
Butter spread
great.
was my nickname at summer camp.
Yeah, Zach Butterspread. Let's go.
Zach Butters.
Right. Why would you
That's my favorite. Why would you do this to Shaun?
Oh, it was your fault though, Zach. Oh no, it was Aaron's fault. Okay.
Oh.
Just
Oh,
give
wait,
me a
wait.
5-piece meal. Oh, what a deal. A big old box, it's all for me.
Hey.
You know I'll take coleslaw on the side. I could tell you wanted to try the potato wedges.
Oh my god. Why would you do this to Shaun during Black History Month?
Hey, bro. Like, what did you type in to find that clip?
I swear to God, I swear to God, I saw that on TikTok. I was like, what the fucking hell is this? It's dumb as
Right.
shit, but it's great. Also, they have a whole TikTok account. They made it like a Christmas version of this. It's fucking ridiculous.
Doug, shut up. It's the solo. Shit.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. He's getting it in. Oh,
He's jamming.
Taste the
Yeah,
biscuit.
do not disturb is off.
Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
oh my
Taste the honey
god.
sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce.
Rock
Get
your
your
body
honey
home.
sauce on me. I don't like the way it mixes with my chicken wings. Get none of that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes on my chicken wings. Take us out, Moose.
Hey, take him out, Moose. Take
Right.
him out.
Taste the biscuit.
Oh, Shaun, you're welcome for that. You really are welcome for that.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming. Hey, that was great. Oh my god.
His name is Moose. Yes, Aaron.
Hey man.
You've been graced by.
Yeah,
And-
it's Moose. He's the guy.
Oh.
Come on now.
She lost, Doug. I think we
And she
should.
lost badly, which was great. But yeah,
She got tore up out in Utah. Anyway,
yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Yabelberg. Catch next week. Catch that Gerber Whitey.
Straight up, come out to Baltimore.
all right. Well, Shaun, we got to let you go. We've subjected you to our comment section. We've subjected you to
My
this.
curiosity.
She comes right back.
She never leaves, Shaun. She's always
Oh my
here.
God.
She's always here. Her and her friend.
The Moose. Oh yeah, that
They're
one.
always
They
here.
will always be
So
part
they
of
will
it.
always be here. We hope that you will come back and have fun with us at some point.
Yes.
Give us Black Viking updates. We will
Yes,
see
please.
you at Barrow and Flow, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll get our update there. But we just want to thank you for coming on,
Yep.
making this broadcast funner, smarter, more entertaining than it could ever be without you. And that's it, my friend. Any final words?
Man, again, thank you guys, Doug, Greg. This has really been fun, man. Like, I had a great time tonight. I really appreciate what you guys are doing with your platform, the way that you guys show up for folks in this industry, and for allowing me to jump on your platform and engage with your audience, man. It's truly been a blessing and an honor. And again, man, anything I can do to help you guys, whether it's with the Bear and Flow collab or just in general, like, I'm just a phone call away, man. Like, this is really an all hands on deck moment right now as we work to expand this industry. So we need brewers, we need marketers, we need show hosts, we need podcasters, we need writers, bloggers, we need all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because we need to expand this thing to be more inclusive for everybody. So thank y'all. I'm humbled, I'm blessed, I'm appreciative, and cheers to the culture.
Yeah, baby, bring it.
That in there.
And on that note, I was going to ask you what you were drinking, but I just feel that we should just let him go like that, Doug.
Yeah, I think that was an excellent ending for sure.
Shaun,
Yeah, man, we have enough after shows, so stick around if you can.
Stick around for the after show if you want, but if not, we will see you at Barrow and Flow. You need to continue to kick ass and
Yes, please.
love, much love.
Much love to you guys.
One
man.
love, man.
I stick
One
around
love.
for a couple minutes, man.
Cheers. Cheers. Okay.
Cheers.
Cool. Well, awesome, Doug. Let's get out of here so we can hang out with Shaun.
Yep. All right. You want to go first or you want me to?
I made a dumb graphic for this, so we might as well play it. I had Zinger beer from Black Viking, but I have the old label. So this
new label is fucking fire, though. Oh.
That new label, but he said it was a collector's item. So then in 10 years when I have this, I can take it to him and he's gonna give me a case of beer because it's a collector's item, right? Okay, cool. So he didn't agree to that, but we're gonna put that on him and then we'll gaslight him.
We'll figure it out.
Right. All right. Time to rank them. And then secondly, not least, was this never known maple and vanilla imperial oatmeal stout. This thing. Shout out to Nigel for sending this to me. It's great. It was nice. Look at this. I finished it, so it's pretty good. Big. I didn't really get to talk about it because we were just all over the place. But the maple and vanilla shine, but not too much. What's going on with you?
All right, so 3 beers. All of them were fucking good. There was not a bad beer amongst the back.
I just found a sticker. Shaun, you ever see Funky Town?
Funky
out
Town,
of Chicago? Oof. So, you want to talk about some damn good beers. Funky Town, y'all. Yeah.
Anyway, East Brothers Oatmeal Stout was very good. This is from Lauren. This was really, really good oatmeal stout. The next one was the Young Lion Brewery out of Canandaigua, New York. Imperial Salted Caramel Porter. That was very good, not overpoweringly sweet, which sometimes you get with the salted caramel. But Jesus Christ, this thing was fucking winner. The barrel-aged Old Rasputin was just fucking out of this world. That was great. So
you literally had people in the comment section screaming for that shit.
Yeah. So, and as I said, message me if you can't get it. I will buy it and I'll send it to you because that's fucking great beer.
One thing you can't buy, Doug, is
can't buy that.
Nope.
Thankfully, you can't buy that. Thankfully.
Come on now. Be nice. You can't. Can you buy this?
Just give me a 5-piece meal.
Maybe. You could probably pay them to come and play your event.
Wow, that would be amazing. Doug, do you remember when you could, I know you can't now, but remember when you could at least house a 5-piece meal from KFC? Remember that shit?
Yeah, the problem is I can't house a 5-piece meal. Well,
I'm not saying now. I'm just saying.
I could if I just ate oatmeal and salads for like 3 days. I could probably do that.
Right. That's enough sodium for 7 days at this point.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine food being that bad back in the day. I really don't. I mean, maybe it was and we just didn't know, but I just feel that they just add a whole bunch of like whatever. We're going down the list. Let's see. A white, you can buy a white. What the fuck was that? What the fuck is that?
All right.
I don't even.
I think we need to end on
After their whiting gig, you'll be able to see them at my son's. What is going on with the comments? I don't think most of us should have a 5-piece at this point. Look, Daniel, I understand. I'm just saying, remember those good old days though, when we used to house a whole
and nobody gave a shit, and you just ate what the
three
fuck you
biscuits, the fucking right, the little what mac and cheese, and the fucking. So next week, Doug, we have
Angie Thomas.
Angie Thomas from the our wonderful run here at Black History Month and having Black guests has been going great.
Yep.
Too bad we didn't plan it until like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, we were so intentional with it.
Well, we didn't get Jackie till the week of. We didn't get Shaun until the week before. Well, Shaun last week on this episode is when this stream is when Shaun was like, "Yo, I'm in. That's cool." Shaun was like, I meant to respond to you like 3 weeks ago and I didn't. I'm like, man, that's cool because that's kind of how we roll. Now Angie confirmed right before we went on live, so we have Angie next week. She's fabulous and fun. And another Black woman we get to talk to, so that Black woman we get to talk to, so that's great. Waiting to the last minute to plan out. It's the American way. Yes, and Aaron, I know as a white man, you're not saying this. I'm saying this. It's also color people time, just so you know. We kind of sometimes we roll up to the scene a little bit late, but we're always there, y'all. We're just like I don't see Doug. Again, Doug and I think are different. Like Doug wants to be there generally, right? Doug, you want to be there when the event starts, right?
Yep.
Okay. I want to be there 15 to 30 minutes after the event starts.
Nah, I'm fucking super prompt guy.
But I blame that on color people time. So that's what Black people time. Because we rather be late. Or I rather be late-ish. Walk in, everything's started. I don't have to make a scene. I can just slide in. It's great. So where we're not going to slide, Doug, is to the post show. We're going to slide into the post show. Why can't we celebrate Black History every month? We should, Jason.
You're right. And we should.
Amen, brother. Amen. And this year is more important because people are just trying to stop us from talking about it. And you know what happens especially with Black people. But when you tell anybody not to do something, you know what's going to happen.
Yep.
We're going to go and do it. So
if
I didn't say it last week enough, fuck you, Ron DeSantis. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, and the horse you rode in on, even though it's not the horse's fault, because he doesn't even want your dumbass near it. He doesn't even want to be near your dumbass. So nobody wants to be around your dumbass. But I can't. Sorry.
All right.
We're gonna.
Cheers, folks.
Positivity.
Thanks for joining us.
Positivity. Thank you again to Shaun. Thank y'all for all y'all do, for supporting this crazy, stupid ass, slackish ass stream that we got going on. We love all of you. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Love you guys. Take care.